It's Wednesday. Welcome to Midnight's Edge in the morning. I am Tom Connors. Barely here. I am here, though. Joining us this morning, we have the boss man, Andre. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Saw a movie today.
I hear.
Wow.
And so did Chris. And we have Chris Gore with us. This is quite an interesting get-up you got there, Chris.
Well, I thought it was appropriate for this discussion.
Why he not? Was Namor once.
Yeah. Once.
Yeah. Namor. It's Namor.
Are you in the same shape?
Yeah.
Looks like he's in pretty good shape there, I'd say.
No, but this was a while ago. I'm asking, are you in the same shape now?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Well, Chris, you're in better shape there than Namor was in the movie.
I'm trying to be accurate. I'm trying to be accurate to the movie.
Well, let's not waste any time. We also have Paul with us. How you doing, Paul?
Oh, sorry. Got food in my mouth. Yes, I'm
That's
good.
Typical. It wouldn't be your intro without food in your mouth.
True.
We have a limited...
Can't be Hungarian unless you're talking with food in your mouth.
We have a limited time with Chris this morning, so we're not going to waste too much time here. I'm going to put him up on the top here. So as you see here, these two men on top have seen a movie. It was a Disney feature.
The Woman King. Yeah. It was Marvel's The Woman King.
Yes, it appears to be so. Let's not waste too much time since Chris doesn't have a whole lot of time here. Let's get your guys' initial reaction, then we're going to get into spoilers. So, Chris, we'll give you the floor first. What's your initial reaction to the film?
Exactly, and I have a question to lead with here. The early reviews, when the movie premiered to the select public, by public I mean select media, they all praised it. It was the best Marvel movie since the previous Marvel movie. And it was even better than that, and the one before that. It was a proper triumph again.
Right.
Did they lie to us again, or was this really the triumph they claimed?
I don't know if they lied, but they must have been swayed by attending the world premiere, going to the party, and receiving a gift bag. I just think that those reviews clearly are not to be trusted. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes right now, the reviews that are being honest and not overpraising are more accurate, I would say. And I would put this, before we get into like sort of bullet points of some of the reasons why. I mean, it's insufferably 2 hours and 40 minutes long, doesn't nearly even earn that running time. It's a movie that's built around Shuri is your lead character, but it's really the side characters of it. Now we have proof. The side characters in the original Black Panther, they can't carry a movie. They can't.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Oh, wait. They took it down already?
They took it down already.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. So they can't carry a movie. I would put this among the worst Marvel films, if not the worst. Just because of the expectations. There are decisions that were made about the story. I mean, we can launch right into spoilers if that's okay.
Yeah, we can do that. First, I just want to say one thing about the running time. You know how I saw this movie? I will say this. I agree with you completely. This is among the rock bottom of Marvel movies.
Wow.
This is a disaster. I made the prediction that black men, the ones who drove the previous movie, there's nothing for them in this movie here. No, nothing at all. Any black man listening, there's no reason for you to watch this movie here. This movie is for the black ladies who don't need no man who raises their own kids with their mother. That's who this movie is for. And that's what's kind of celebrated here. That's one thing. And I would put this just barely above Eternals.
Oh,
barely above Eternals. And also about the running time. This is what I just before I let you go wild with everything else here. Before the running time, I don't see this as a movie. You know what I see this as? This is a 6-episode Disney Plus series truncated into a movie because it was so episodic and so disjarred. There's like no clear narrative. You have an episode, all sliced together. That's how I see this.
That's what it felt like, Andre. I think that's an accurate description. It's just
this should have been a Disney Plus series. It's like ironic. The Disney Plus series should have been movies, and this movie right here needed to be a 6-episode Disney Plus series.
Yeah, it was. I mean, first of all, let's start with. I feel bad for young boys that are fans of Black Panther because it unceremoniously in the beginning of the movie, they just basically announce to you that T'Challa, Black Panther, is dead through some mysterious disease as Shuri is trying to figure it out, and he just dies. And I'm thinking to myself, they did not need to do this. They could have told a Black Panther story because Chadwick Boseman is not Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman is an actor who died, and it clearly affected, and it's tragic, okay? And it clearly affected everyone involved in the film. Having said that, you owe it to Chadwick to continue the character he created and have another actor step into the role. They should have done that. That decision destroyed any hope of this film being a success. I think it's going to be traumatizing for kids. I think the running time, no family is going to go and spend the money. And look, with trailers, because AMC famously shows 20 minutes of trailers before Nicole Kidman sits down, you're looking at a 3-hour experience. I can't see families going to see this. I can't see it getting any repeat business, meaning when you see it, you're going to see it once, okay? Just once. That's weird. So
it's back up, but they don't have any audience score whatsoever.
Weird.
That audience score is going to be awful.
They're going to fortify it.
So just that decision destroyed this movie. Even if they were planning on Shuri's going to be Black Panther, that's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. And the movie does have its moments. You have to give it that. The movie has its moments. Winston Duke as M'Baku, he's great when he's on screen. He's on screen for 10 minutes, maybe. Michael B. Jordan has one scene. That's not a surprise, as Killmonger. And it's great. You realize, wow, that first movie had a lot of male energy. They should have kept that. This doesn't work at all as a film. And there are moments that are unbelievably embarrassing. I mean, I'm going to talk about it more on the Film Threat live stream, which is after you guys are done later this afternoon. But let's just say, because you don't care about spoilers.
Sure. Keep the good parts for your own fucking show.
Yeah, exactly. Shuri gets she becomes Black Panther. Okay, that's not a surprise. We all know that. But she basically gets revaed. She gets stabbed with a spear in the torso, and she's fine. It is the most ridiculous. Andre, did that bother you?
Yeah, it was completely. You mean when she was stabbed?
Yeah.
And she just healed right away like it was nothing?
I mean,
I was thinking, whoa, her armor is real. Because what happens towards the end there, she actually gets stabbed right through the armor. So she gets this huge pole, pun intended, driven straight through her. And she just takes it out as if it's nothing. And then her nano suit heals itself. And I'm thinking, that's really impressive of that suit to instantly go inside her body and heal her body as well. Because it must have done that, because she should be dead.
Why didn't it say Black Panther then?
But I guess that she must have had some kind of internal plot armor.
Right. It's just I'm really annoyed that it's okay, if it gets mixed reviews, fine. There are going to be some people that I can't see anybody liking it. And I saw it with a group of critics that it was a tepid response. People there were a few people that tried to clap at the end, but everybody just walked out sort of defeated and what did we just see? And why was the decision made to do this? Why was the decision made to basically kill the character? You killed a character. They, in my opinion, with this movie, have destroyed the franchise. You need to have a franchise. You need all you need is, it's proven history, 2 good movies to make a franchise. Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, right? Alien and Aliens. You can argue the diminishing returns of all those franchises. Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back. At the time, I didn't love Return of the Jedi. I've come to appreciate it more. That's a separate conversation. But what I'm saying is, to build a franchise, you need 2 good films, and this one is a colossal disappointment. And the first movie was overpraised as well, but it had a lot going for it. I mean, Chadwick Boseman made that character. Other great supporting roles, both male and female, and the world building, the sort of Afrofuturism of Wakanda itself. Wakanda in this movie, I don't know, everything from the costumes to the production design of the landscapes and the everything. Just the first half of the movie is just dark, and by dark I just mean it's like shot at night and not well lit and looks like shit. Looks terrible. And then when you get to Wakanda, it's part theme park and resort. It doesn't. I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong, Andre?
No, you're not wrong at all. You are entirely right about everything here. And I have a question for you, because I think it's all important that everyone hears it.
Yeah.
Chris, I want you to think really carefully now. How many men in this movie with a speaking part was portrayed in a remotely positive light?
I don't know, like none. I mean, maybe
exactly none, because I didn't count. Not one.
Yeah. So I have a question.
Yeah.
How does someone get away with not having executive oversight with regards to even something as simple as the length of the final length of the movie? Forget about the script and everything else.
That's what my thought is. If I was Disney, I'd say, look, this is a 2-hour movie. Make it a 2-hour movie.
Right.
To cut some plot threads or clip stuff out, and it could easily have been 2 hours. There's no justification for the 2-hour 40-minute running time other than trying to get to an Oscar running time. Movies that are important and matter are long.
I didn't realize that.
Well, but when you look at like Oscar epic, the ones that get recognition, they're always those movies. The running times are, long. Okay. Yeah. In some cases, those are justified. In a lot of cases, actually. It's justified to have a longer running time.
Spoiler alert, the Titanic sinks.
Exactly. But wow, was this just, and this just makes me look at the people who were, with their positive reviews. It's almost like, is that a requirement now to go to one of these world premieres now, invited by Disney? You have to write something positive. It's
probably
anyone have seen that film and thought this is a mess, and audiences are gonna hate it once the honest reviews start to get promoted. Once audiences on Thursday start talking about it on Friday, you're gonna see. I can't see this movie. This movie will definitely do worse, I think, than Thor and Doctor Strange 2.
Hell yeah.
In the long run, only because of the running time and the fact that it's not going to get repeat business. People aren't going to go see it again for what it's just. And even the action sequences are such a mess. Like, I felt like this movie was just amateurishly made by, I can't believe it was the same guy who made the first movie, Ryan Coogler.
Oh, he dropped the ball so badly.
But where's the oversight? I don't get it. Where's the executive that walks into the room and says 2 hours, bye?
You don't have that anywhere but Warner Brothers.
You have Victoria Alonso now, and she just wants the message, and there's plenty of that in there. And also,
her interviews
you mentioned box office. Actually, courtesy of our good friend Cultured Casino, I have some estimates here. This is from Deadline, and what they're saying is they're judging from advanced ticket sales, and the advanced ticket sales are 20% behind Doctor Strange 2. But they're better than Thor: Love and Thunder, which tells me that it's going to do worse than both of those movies by the time word of mouth hits, because this word of mouth is going to be awful. Black men are going to hate this. The Latino audience, I think, are going to hate it too.
Well, speaking of Latino audience, we have Paulie of Latino Slant and Midnight Central Espanol here. How you doing?
Yeah.
He hasn't seen the movie yet, but
how come you're not dressed in just a bathing suit?
Working on my brown swimming techniques.
Well, I don't know, Andre. I think the black community, we
What up?
don't have anybody here, unfortunately, who can speak to that, but we do have a video if you want me to share that real quick.
Yes, do share the video of the honest reaction of a black man who saw this movie. That's something we really could have used here right now.
A data
So
point of
let's
one,
bring
I
it up.
want to point out.
Yes, it is a data point of 1, but this is Nerd Culture is Toxic.
Oh, I know him. He's good.
This is his review of
boy.
Wakanda Forever. Now, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I think
Oh, boy.
after the first minute or two, we'll get the right idea here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just saw the most greatest film of all time. And that's Wakanda Forever. I saw a pre-showing. It was epic. It was awesome. It sucked my dick in so many ways. So many. This film was delicious. It reminded me of The Woman King that just came out like a few months ago. This movie was great. Like, there was barely no man, and they were just weak and pathetic. And I saw titties and I saw ass. And I almost jacked off. I literally almost jacked off at the movie. It was all over me. I enjoyed it. It was just, this film was everything I wanted in a Disney Marvel product. The fucking lame action, the fucking titties hanging out. This was the shit, man. This was fuck, man. This, if Africa looked like that, I need to visit. Hello. I need to visit.
Okay. So I suggest people check out this channel.
It's a
I'll
great
share the
channel.
link in the chat.
Yeah.
But yes,
That's what
I
they
found
like to
that
do.
hilarious.
When they like something, that's what they like to do.
I'm going to be using the wrong
Do you think
terminology
he's
for
trolling,
this.
Corey?
No, no. I'm going to use the wrong term for this, but I think the white audience gave the first movie a pass, and that's kind of faint praise or hurting or whatever. But there's a lot of people who really enjoyed that first movie and wanted to be supportive of it. Wanted to be supportive of all cultures, and I think a lot of people went there, to do that. Not from a political perspective, but from a feel good way. I don't think that's going to happen with this movie.
No, I don't think so either. Because the original Black Panther, it had a special built-in appeal to black men who could share it with their sons, and I respect that, and that should never be discounted by anyone. Just how important that is.
But you don't
This
get those
movie
kinds
doesn't
of
have
numbers
that.
unless it embraces
Exactly.
everybody.
And that's like the thing. That movie did not exclude anyone.
No.
But
This
I have a really
movie-
important question for Andre.
Yeah, go
and
for it.
And for Namor, fish. Okay.
Fishman.
Did you
He's
see
now
a bunch-
Jewish.
Did you guys see a bunch of titties hanging out?
No, I did not. That would
Damn it.
have been a score for the movie.
He's a liar.
But
He's
yeah,
lying.
no.
lying
bit
then,
there.
because
Yeah. But I really.
Are you
look
trying to say
forward
this isn't a triumph, Polly? Really?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it tomorrow afternoon.
I really look forward to hearing your portrayal of Namor, but I can't imagine
Yeah.
anyone in the Latin crowds liking it.
Well, I'm offended as a Jew because he's he should have been Fishman. It would have been a Jewish name or Mr. Fishman.
Well, the
Fisher
other
of men.
Namors are fishmen, if that helps. Fishmen and fish ladies.
So keep going, Chris.
Yeah, keep going. Let's get into that. What did you think about the portrayal of Namor? Do you think it's going to be a hit with the Latin American audience?
No.
Come on, man.
It was
Come on.
I don't. Here's the problem: is that to be a good villain, you have to have some sort of gravitas, and this character just completely lacks it. They try to give him like this sort of deep and meaningful story. He's been alive for 500 years. The motivation for his war with Wakanda is not really made clear. It's not super clear. I'm sure there's going to be a line that, like, well, we covered it in this line of dialogue. You need to see that. You need to see that something, it would have made more sense, say, if Namor, someone pointed this out on a live stream yesterday, it would have made more sense if Namor had killed T'Challa.
Ah,
And that's what I had heard. That was what the plan was originally. So, but
but no, that didn't happen. He's not
Didn't
the
happen.
That's not what
I'm
happened.
just saying that would have made more sense. You could understand motivation. This movie is a mess, and Namor is not the worst part of it, but he doesn't add anything. And the actor I don't think the actor's great. I'm just being honest. I don't think the actor was, but also.
So let me ask you this, Chris.
Yeah.
Paulie predicted this.
Are we doing any? Have you guys been doing spoilers, mild spoilers at all?
Yeah, we are. No, we're doing full-on spoilers.
Okay, so I had a question, a spoiler question.
Yeah, go for it.
So that at no time is it presumed or there's a fight between Namor and T'Challa?
No.
Nope. I mean, T'Challa basically in the opening minutes of the movie,
right?
The audience is told that he's dying of some unknown virus.
So you don't even get to see him?
You don't even get to see him die. You don't see the moment of his death.
Wow. Then I think something got changed because I had been told,
Well, he should have died in battle, and this was the resulting funeral.
Right. Okay, nothing, no act of self-sacrifice, which would have been heroic.
Yeah.
All it is you see Shuri, and she's frantically working on what looks like a thing of molecules, which makes no sense, by the way.
She's the science girl. He should have died of COVID.
Just so, and we are told, and this is something, look, show, don't tell. Like I'm just telling you, like, it's such information is delivered in such a weak way. Important plot points are just lines of dialogue. That's not how to tell a compelling story. It's as if Ryan Coogler forgot how to make a fucking movie. It's god all.
That's the biggest crime. That's probably from what I trust Chris. I trust Andre. I'm gonna go see. I'm not gonna hate watch. Like I'm gonna be.
Yeah, no, go see it. I want your review here.
But you said a couple things, Gore. And what's up, Chris? Hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going, man?
You said a couple things that are really, really sad. Like sad to hear, just as far as how they treated T'Challa. Did it? So you're saying it's so disjointed? I mean, they were filming all the way up until June.
Well, look, I don't know about that. I know it was a mess. Letitia Wright, she can't carry a movie. She is a great side character, and you really love her on screen in the original Black Panther because she's on screen for 10 minutes. Like, oh, she's got personality. She's sort of, talking to her brother in sort of a brother-sister way. Like, you just like, she's likable in that first film. She's in Endgame for a short time. She's a great side character. You can't build movies on characters are side characters for a reason. They're funny on screen for like 5 minutes, and then you miss them when they're gone. You're like, it'd be great. And then they come back again for another 5 minutes, and that's all you need that character. To have a leading person to carry a film, you needed someone that says some kind of gravitas. Letitia Wright is like, what else has she done besides this? I mean, I'm sure she's done some other things.
Supporting roles.
She's done supporting roles.
Very smart supporting roles. Death on the Nile. And I think what you're saying is correct because she's Shuri and Letitia in the other films, all the other films, she's always had great one-liners, great comeback liners. She's
great at that. She's great. She's great at being a side character. Can't carry a movie. She's meant to carry the movie, but it's sort of an ensemble female cast, and with no real reason for that to occur. Winston Duke plays M'Baku, and he's great as that character. He's on screen for not very long, but every time he's on screen, the movie feels different. When you see the Michael B. Jordan screen, it's like on screen when you see his scene, you're like, why? And look, it's not as if there's a shortage of great male Black actors in Hollywood. There's an abundance of great.
Well, Winston Duke is incredible.
Yes, like there's so many good actors who could have stepped into the role. You have dishonored what Chadwick Boseman created with this character by killing the character in the movie. It was completely unnecessary. They could have had maybe something with Chadwick, or you've got the digital effects. I mean, look, the Black Panther costume is a digital effect, okay? Or you have someone else in the costume, whatever it is. Like, you could have had some scene, and maybe he goes away, comes back, and it's a different actor. Or maybe it takes place during the blip, right? Like, have all the funeral stuff. He's been lost. This is like after the events of Infinity War. And then he comes back and it's like, hey, you've got to go fight Thanos. You know, Doctor Strange comes in, he goes and fights Thanos. Then after that battle, what happens? What's his life? You just cast a different actor. Happens all the time. I mean, they did it with Terrence Howard, with Rhodey and Don Cheadle. Okay. Nobody said anything.
They're doing it right
Dumbledore.
now with, I was just
With
going to say, they're doing
Dumbledore.
it right now with Harrison Ford taking over for William Hurt.
Oh
Like-
yeah,
No,
or
it's-
when
have
Richard
a-
Harris died, the other actor came in and played Dumbledore. We
Yeah,
liked Richard
look,
Harris.
There have been so many different ways that they've changed, and the audiences, there's the initial, and you know, they do a tribute in the film at the end to Chadwick Boseman. I would have thought that maybe that's something they would have done at the beginning or whatever, but whatever.
Well, there was a pretty decent tribute in the intro sequence,
Right,
right,
right.
of the Marvel logo.
Right, but
Let me ask you this: how was
Yeah.
the action?
it was you've seen it before. It's nothing special.
It was nothing to write home
nothing
about.
special, nothing where you're like, oh my god, I need to see that again. It was so breathtaking. What you've seen in the trailers, that's the action. It's, you
And
know,
to me, the action, especially the final action sequence, I think is going to be really offensive to the Latin audience.
So
And I'm surprised that Victoria Alonso would allow it. Yeah, carry on. Bro.
Right. So Andre and Chris, I had seen two of the acting scenes, and they were so overacted. And what surprised me, and what you're saying, like you're making my worst fears, you know, reality, is that they were badly filmed. Is that the case?
I think it was badly filmed and ugly, visually ugly.
The clips I saw looked worse, or like TV level. Like they did
Yeah.
not look like a movie.
I stand by, like this felt like 6 episodes of a Disney Plus series spliced together. This was Disney Plus level, all of it.
yeah, but and I'll say this: I do have to run. I got to run, but I will say this. All right, so for me here, real quick, Chris Gore, where do you see Kevin Feige's future with Phase 4 being so bad? Phase 5, Phase 4, Part 2, and Phase 6, Part 3 comeback, please. I have no idea. I think here's what I'll say, and this is how I'll address that question, and this is my kind of final thought. Corporations can't be creative; they just can't, and I feel that what we've seen is a mass exodus, whether you've noticed it or not, of the best talents from Marvel to other places. Why? Because it's not fun to work for a corporation. It's just not fun. And the corporations kill creativity, in my opinion. So I just think I gotta run. I can't answer all these, unfortunately. So, but I'll just say the corporations kill creativity, and you've seen like James Gunn no longer there, right? Where are the Russo brothers? Are they working with Marvel? No. Is Jon Favreau working with Marvel? He was. And when you look at the executive producer credits on Endgame and Infinity War, a lot of names on there, and a lot of people, James Gunn in particular, who was partially responsible for laying out the map of the decade of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that brought us to the climax that was Endgame, which will never be repeated. And this mess that is Phase 4 doesn't contain all the worst of the Marvel movies, but from where I sit, I think Wakanda Forever is the worst Marvel film, worse even than Eternals, mainly because of the potential that it had and how it squandered it. And how it really, in my opinion, disrespected Chadwick Boseman's legacy by not continuing the character. Okay, we're all going to pass away from this mortal coil. Tragic fact, but we are. But in order to continue the legacy, you keep that character going. You keep the character of T'Challa going, because I just feel this is going to be traumatizing to young kids who are running around in their Black Panther pajamas, who are fans, who've got Wakanda and Black Panther stuff all over, who've got action figures. How you kill the character because the actor died? No, mistake. Huge mistake. The franchise is DOA, in my opinion, and this is going to be colossally disappointing. I'm really interested to see the audience scores because I can't see how anyone, a sober-minded moviegoer, could see this movie and walk away feeling good or that they've had a good experience. It's
really quick, Chris. That critic score has already gone down like 10%.
It'll probably get in the 70s or lower. Like if people are being honest, what I feel is this: there is and also this town runs on fear. Entertainment industry runs on fear, and critics in particular are afraid of criticizing someone because of the identity of the people involved. Meaning, a woman director doesn't get judged as harshly as a male director. That is a real thing, and I have seen my colleagues. Weak-minded colleagues who are they want to overpraise just only because of some characteristic of a director. Well, this is a woman director, so I'm gonna praise it more than I would. You don't get some handicap like when you're bowling, right?
Well, the problem with Hollywood,
Chris is on point with that.
I'm telling you, and so
Chris is on point with that because
Hollywood has become so wokeified that certain victim groups are now infantilized in whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, infantilization. Yeah, but
that's the problem.
I'm already getting the heat. I'm already getting the heat that I have to like it no matter what because of Latino inclusion and diversity, and I'm like, no. I really don't. I'm going to pay my ticket and I'm going to give you my opinion. But I'm already getting that. I'm already getting that. And I'm not a professional critic, right? This is my YouTube channel. So Chris is on point.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
Stop doing that. You're not doing them any favors.
Nope.
You're not doing filmmakers any favors by not leveling criticism you would level no matter who. That's why I don't even, when I watch a lot of indie movies that we get at Film Thread, I don't even look. I don't care. I don't care who fucking made it. I don't care. That doesn't matter. Now, point of view can make a difference with something like a documentary or someone can bring that personal experience to the story. But if it doesn't elevate the film, it's irrelevant, right?
In the 60s, every newspaper in Toronto would praise every single Canadian stage production until Nathan Cohen came on the scene, who you guys know nothing about, and he ripped into everything that was garbage, and he was hated for not supporting Canadian theater. But he was right. He elevated the quality of theater in Canada by being honest.
Well, good. I'm just saying that
dead, but
that's why you're seeing people fearful to criticize this movie.
That's my point.
And that's cowardly. And those people are not to be taken. Those critics are not to be taken seriously. You'll see when the Rotten Tomatoes, when you scroll through, there are people giving it bad reviews, and their criticisms are, I'm reading it going, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. But all the overpraising, not to be trusted. And it's really, you may as well make a list. These are the critics. I don't need to pay attention.
They're not overpraising. They're going, well, it's emotional. That's it.
Look, I'm trying to remember a movie I saw that wasn't emotional. That is a generic,
right?
That's why this is, I don't take people seriously who overuse a word. There's a specific word. It's a pet peeve of mine. Sure. And I'll let you in. I have a lot of pet peeves. Plant-based pizza.
I saw that.
That's a pet peeve. But I'll tell you, is
Gross.
people who use the word interesting to describe something.
Right.
Interesting doesn't tell you whether something is good or bad, right? It's interesting. Fine. You got it. And something can be interesting. That's a valid. But if you overuse the word interesting, you're afraid. You are in fear of having an opinion. And to
you need to explain what makes it interesting.
Yeah, what makes it interesting
compared to what?
Exactly, Tom. Exactly. So I got to run, unfortunately.
Bye, Namor.
Take care. Take care.
Thank you, Chris. We'll probably hang on to some of your chats if we can't.
Thank you, Chris.
Answer them. So
thank
you though for being here.
One real quick thing. The only person that calls Namor is Namor. Everyone else says Namor in the movie.
Really?
Everyone else says Namor.
I knew it.
And it's so ridiculous. It's like,
I knew it.
Wait, so he says his name is Namor, but then everyone else in the film, like Shuri and everybody, says Namor.
Is there a scene
like,
where a Spaniard in the past calls him Namor?
Who knows?
Only when he's given the name, and it's just like when he's given the name. When this priest tells him, "You're the child that no one loves." That's the only time. No one else. ever refers to him as Namor said like that. Not once.
Yeah, not one character does.
All right.
Mentions that. I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of pandering. And so Paulie, you're gonna love it. All right, I gotta go.
Yeah. Chris, just one quick thing real quick.
Yeah,
yes
sure.
or no? Yeah, I just want to hear if you agree with my characterization of his motivation for doing what he does.
Uh-huh.
Mexican, underwater, Putin.
What?
Putin.
Yeah, Putin. Like a Russian dictator, right? His motivation is similar to that. He's just like, okay, I feel a little bit insecure here, so I'm going to destroy the world. And you're going to help me.
He's been around for 500 years. What would make him
insecure?
Make that decision now, like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's not made clear. I mean, that I feel like that's not even strong enough of a thing. We could get into a whole discussion of why did Anakin Skywalker turn to the dark side? What were his reasons? And every time I ask a group of people that question, everyone gives a different answer. There's no clear. That's why that's a flaw of the prequels. We could get into that.
But here's like the thing with the Namor. He wants to destroy the entire world, and Wakanda is to help him because they might come for him. Maybe, perhaps. You don't know. Maybe not.
It's okay.
Just
Then
play it safe.
Show me that. I mean, you're even reading into it because it's not.
To what end, though?
Is you're having to read in things that the filmmaker didn't do their job.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's what's in the movie. He wants to destroy the entire surface world because someone, maybe, perhaps, wants to come for him that he can vanquish anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's Namor though, but he's an alpha. There's no emotional instability with Namor.
We need to feel that. Hey, I got to run, so I will chat with you all later.
Care, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye.
Yeah, all right, take care.
Sure sounds like he's pretty unstable here to me, Paulie.
Yeah, he's. I did not see him.
You know, Andre, you've seen it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of like what I mean. That I'm not familiar with Namor with the comics. If he's like really this genocidal maniac that decides after having the sin hidden away for 500 years, decides that, oh, now they might learn of my existence. So because of that, I'm going to destroy the entire surface world, and I'm going to destroy you if you don't help me to do so.
He's got no love for surface dwellers.
But it should have been
there's
motivated
a difference
by
between not having any love for and wanting to annihilate every last one.
Right. Why wasn't his sister caught in a tuna net and turned into food? Like, then I'd be motivated.
I don't know. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, in the comics, he's always struck back when, like, you know, there were literally invading his
a vessel.
Underworld.
Yes. People went. Yes.
Right.
It was much more blue with the James Cameron movie like.
And he was an arrogant asshole and a ladies' man. So do we get any of that, Andre?
No, he was very respectful. Shuri felt very safe around him.
So
and we saw one person that was like implied to be something of a love interest. Of course, she was very quick to express disappointment with him towards the end of the movie and stuff. But no, we didn't really get anything of him being a ladies' man or anything like that. He tried to be like charming towards Shuri, but it was in a very safe way. So no, I didn't get any kind of
Namor.
like ladies' man from him.
That's not the comic book Namor.
Oh no, they've left him completely behind. But I think the worst
Namor grabs Sue Storm. You're coming with me.
Yeah.
No, I ain't nothing of that.
My biggest disappointment is that the critics are no longer entertaining. Like the Rex Reed era of entertainment critics is gone. They're just not interesting. It's just everyone is pandering.
Well, we're gonna have
except for the online
Hara
people
on Saturday. She's a Rotten Tomatoes critic, and she goes against the grain. Like me, she's not all about the axis. I have really good conversations with her, so I'm gonna be very curious what she thinks about this movie.
Jeremy Hahn, is that his name? He's one of the critics I tend to like online. Enjoyed the movie, maybe more. Well, if you compare it to what Chris just said,
You mean Jeremy Johns? Is that
Jeremy
what you're talking about?
Johns, yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
he's kind of one of those who rides the line a little bit. But
He
yeah.
maybe wrote it a little bit too much on his review.
He's not one of my preferred critics.
I like
No.
him.
But yeah.
I don't mind him.
Oh, and
I don't hate him, but I don't trust his reviews
just-
necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I get how people are calling a critic shields. I mean, yes and no. These are, I'm just using my reference of my friend Rosa. I mean, she's got a full-time job. She's a scientist, and then she's also happens to be a movie critic, and she has a full family. So it's not like like those bootlickers that you're talking about. They do
not
exist.
Everyone is like that. Obviously.
Yeah, they do
Only the
exist.
ones that went to the premiere and gave like this bestest movie ever.
Yeah.
But they might have actually genuinely liked it. There is that.
Well, I'm not
too.
going to deny there isn't
Well,
people
I'm
who
sure
will.
if you're properly ideologically aligned, you probably would like it.
And that's
Oh,
maybe not
Andre.
even so much that, Andre. There's just, you can't deny that there's going to be some people who are going to find some interest in this. Just like with She-Hulk, I talked to enough people that actually liked it.
Yes, and I
Clearly,
can
they
see
didn't
why.
understand why.
No, I can understand it. I mean, there's certain shows where certain things where you can say this is empirically bad, and I will point it out. And I ran into someone who really enjoyed She-Hulk just for the mere reason of it was a green woman, and she went back and forth and didn't really analyze the show for any deficits, and just enjoyed the notion of it. In that sense, I can see She-Hulk is actually way better than Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because it has a tone. I mentioned it in my review. At least they successfully created a ongoing tone. It's garbage, but it's similar from show to show. I could totally see that. But
that would be a prerequisite.
Well, what I was actually going to say
switch
was,
your brain off.
I was actually going to say something different. But that, like with the thing with She-Hulk is those who like it can't understand why those who don't, kind of thing. And I explained it to him, and they just like, well, that doesn't. Who cares?
well,
It's just
I did
a different
explain
show. It's
to
like
the person. I explained to the person why She-Hulk was not good, and he went, "Wow, you're right." So
well,
I spoiled
women don't like to hear
Chato, are you
that.
going to see Namor? Are you going to see Wakanda?
me. I'm not going to see the movie.
Okay.
Anyone else? You going to see it, Tom?
Nah, I didn't plan on it additionally, and unless Andre says I should, then no.
And
No,
Paulie's going. You're going to
There's
go.
no need.
I'm going tomorrow. Full disclosure, I paid full price for my ticket, and like I always do with those type of reviews, and I always say, okay, I paid a discount price, or I got this, I got that, or if it was free, I tell my audience why I got a free ticket. But
Well,
yeah,
I might go see Black Adam.
Yeah.
I saw it. It was fun.
It's supposed to be coming to VOD on November 22nd, guys.
Well, you got a good system, so
Yeah, it's not a great movie, and
No.
and we have to be careful with Black Adam. There's lots of parts of it that just
You're going to start sounding like that one critic who was yelling at people who liked it.
No. I thought it was a nice bit of entertainment. I mean, but it's not a good movie.
And that's the thing that was lacking from Wakanda Forever, entertainment.
It doesn't
that-
have to be
my
good as
God.
long as it's entertaining, and that's why I didn't
Breaks
hate
my heart.
Morbius, right? Like, I get it. It's a bad fucking movie. It's objectionably and subjectively bad on
Morbius?
so many levels. Yes, but I enjoyed the piss out of it because it's entertaining.
I
Right.
had a blast
There-
on Morbius. It was so
That's what I'm
much
saying.
fun.
Something can still be bad and still
was
be
so
entertaining.
Stupid and cool and weird and
All
But when
I
you get-
ask from these kinds of movies is what I call a ripping yarn. Give me a ripping yarn. That's
This
all I
man.
want.
And that's
this
the thing
man
is,
here, this man.
most people, when they go to see these kind of movies, they don't want to see something depressing. They want to see something that's going to make them forget their own life for 2 hours. I mean, and the thing is with this Marvel thing, it's starting to fall into the weight of itself. I know we've said this time and time again, but it's true now. We've gotten to this point where you've got 3-hour movies. You've got somebody who wants to destroy the surface world for no other reason than just because.
Pretty
And
much,
where
yeah.
was this character during all the other stuff? And that's the other thing I keep asking when we get hundreds of new characters all the time in Marvel that are stronger than the last one. It's like, where was this motherfucker during Endgame? Right? Like, it's like, this is where we've gotten to that point where I knew this was going to start falling apart. Where as much as I love these connected universes and all this kind of stuff, eventually they're going to, not only that, you're going to start losing actors, not just from, life in general, but they're gonna go do other things. So sooner or later, we're gonna have, you know,
not as the price is right. That's I love
well,
actors.
they're
but
not gonna pay Robert Downey Jr. what they're gonna need for him to come back, and that's
well,
what it's
he
gonna
doesn't need to
take.
come back. He doesn't need to come back.
Oh, you want to make a bet? I said that's the kind of thing that's gonna take for this franchise to get back up on its feet. You need something like that. You've
Only
got
if
Ryan
he has
Reynolds
more
going around
creative
right
control,
now
Tom.
saying
Only
that
he
he's
has
not
some
going to be
creative
in any more Deadpool movies after this, and then probably not, because this was probably a nightmare to get this one off the ground.
I
He's
would
been playing the
suggest
character now
I
for the
would
better part of a
suggest,
decade.
everyone, maybe I'll leave it in the chat, but I suggest everyone listen to the Alan Moore interview on CBC on Q. You can search for it yourself, and it's just a fantastic interview, and on multiple levels. One, his notion that nostalgia is the opposite, of the flip side of the same coin as fascism, and which I think is a fascinating concept of populism, and is being used in a way to manipulate people. The other thing too is he talked about Superman and his origins of during the Depression, and how he was fighting regular bad guys, and now that all the superheroes are fighting Thanos level bad guys, where do we go with this? Like, everything is tedious, and Script Doctor and I thought, why don't we get a Superman that actually is back in the 50s and is just fighting street crime and just do it all up like a 1950s style black and white movie. And I would be more interested in seeing that than him or any of these other superheroes fighting these absolutely mega death, universe crushing individuals. It's a trap that they've fallen into, and they just can't go any. They just can't solve that problem. They can't solve the antagonist problem.
Andre, can I say something?
Yeah, ask me anything or say anything.
In regards to what Gore said and what my cousin Chato just said right now.
See,
is, and Tom's called it, is they've lost these directors, right? Because they don't want to work with the MCU anymore. They don't want to work at all. Like I said, the Russos are gone. Tarantino came out the other day, did that video on Tarantino. Why would these directors of merit come and work for MCU now?
And there's no reason. When you look at Ryan Coogler here, I don't see any very little Ryan Coogler in this film.
I was gonna say, and that's my last thing, is that it sounds like they've totally neutered Coogler, and that's the one thing I was relying on. But you're telling me that
he loves the film. I saw the red carpet or purple carpet interviews.
Speaking of neutered, they figuratively neutered Namor in the movie. I think that's a big part of why I think you told me before that if he kicks ass, then the Latin audience is going to respond to it. He just has like one scene of like some slight ass kicking, but this is made up for when he goes up against Shuri later on, and he's not just defeated, he's utterly humiliated and emasculated.
Yeah. And I got to say something, because it seems like people are misinterpreting what I said. When I say depressing, I mean fucking depressing. I don't mean dark. I don't mean serious. There's a big difference. You can be dark and serious and still be entertaining. I'm talking about when you walk out of a movie and feel like it's been a fucking funeral, right? Like that's what I'm expecting people.
The Northman is a recent example of that.
I don't know if that's depressing, because that actually had some hopeful and it was dark.
I mean, I loved it. I just found it like, depressing and serious. And
the last movie I found depressing would be like Birds of Prey, right? Like, it's just so fucking depressing when you walk out of it, because it's just, if you're a man, that movie makes you feel like shit.
Well, I like the examples that you and Yellow Flash said in the chat. Logan is a fantastic example.
That's a dark movie, but it has a hopefulness to it. It's not necessarily depressing. Yes, it's 6. Thank you. Last Jedi was fucking depressing.
No, no,
Yes.
no. That's totally different, Tom. That's
No,
totally
no, no,
different.
no. That was
It's
depressing. You walk out of that, it felt like a fucking funeral. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
because it was a bad film and shitty characters and shitty writing.
Yeah, but they
Logan,
killed Luke Skywalker the way they
know,
did. That was
I know,
depressing.
but-
And I'm saying the same thing about Chadwick Boseman. That's my fucking point. You have a character that meant a lot to a lot of people, and you have a movie where dangling over this entire fucking 2.3 hour movie is the fact that Chadwick Boseman is dead. And not only is he dead, you've killed Black Panther now.
That's
what
actually
I'm
a
talking
big part.
about.
That's a big part of the movie too. That there's no more Black Panther because he's literally dead.
And yet you call
And
the
due
movie
to the
Black
way that he-
Panther.
And due to the way that he died, there can never ever be another Black Panther until Shuri comes and because she's the bestest ever, she's able to find a way to make another Black Panther.
and she was a
namely
scientist
herself.
nerd, right?
Yes,
Shuri was
so
a
she's
scientist.
able to replicate the Black Panther formula.
Yeah,
Two
see,
different conversations. of
Yeah,
what
well,
is
that's because
depressing.
he's trying
Yeah.
to change what I'm trying to say.
I'm not trying to change anything, Tom. I'm just like, wait a minute. There's depressing.
I'm
in the
not
themes-
talking about the content of the film
Right,
so much
right,
as
right.
I
You're
am the
talking
thing
about-
that's
I know.
around it. That's what
Gotcha.
I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I know. Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
No,
we're all
wait, don't,
brothers.
yeah. And all I want is a ripping yard. And I remember leaving Alien, and everybody in the theater was screaming as they were walking out of it. Just, yeah. I mean, the whole Ripley thing at the very end, and she hits the button, the rocket fires off and sends that fucker off into space, and everyone, yeah. I don't see movies like that anymore.
I mean, honestly, I got a little bit more of that in Black Adam,
yes.
and that
I
was
did.
fun at the end.
And that's
you know?
where,
Yeah,
even though
you're
Black
right.
Adam may subjectively or objectively be a bad movie in certain ways, it doesn't matter because it delivers for the audience. And that's what I was
It's an
talking about
uplifting
before.
movie.
And that's what I was-
Ghostbusters had that at
watching
the
it.
end too.
Mhm.
Ghostbusters
Yeah.
was just a fantastic.
And this is the kind of shit that
ending.
Ebert and
Oh, Ghostbusters was. That's
Siskel and Ebert used to argue about all the time, right? Because they would sit there and Siskel would be like, well, this, and that, and the other about the movie and give it a thumbs down. And Ebert would go, are you fucking insane, Gene? It does exactly what it sets out to be. It doesn't pretend to be anything else other than what it was. I could have predicted the way they would have gone after Black Adam. Like, Siskel would have hated it. Gene would have loved it. Or, I mean, Roger would have loved it. Because he would have saw it for what it was. A popcorn movie that is pretending to be nothing more than what it is. Now, Black Panther, on the other hand, Gene Siskel would have been like, oh, it's got this great dark message and blah, 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 blah. And Roger had been like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's depressing as fuck. You kill the main character who's not even in the movie. All the things that we just said here, right?
But
Because
there's different types of depressing. I don't want to keep
Yeah.
belaboring this. What do you
yeah,
mean
no,
by
Yeah.
but I think
No,
Mark's
just
right
to
here.
end that discussion once and for all, it's as Marksman of 11.7b says. Paulie, you're arguing the tone of the movie. Tom is talking about the audience experience. And yeah, those are two different things that you're talking about.
Legally
That's exactly
Blonde
right.
has a fantastic ending that you cheer for.
Was it a happy ending?
A terrifically happy ending. It's fantastic and clever and came from the heart of the movie.
I mean, I got to imagine there was
So
some
am I
cheering-
Siskel and you're Ebert? Or am I Ebert and you're Siskel?
It just depends on what the movie is, I guess.
Probably.
But no, like I got to imagine. I didn't go see Top Gun in the theater, but a few people who did. You guys here on the panel did. Some of you. I'm sure there was some moments that were rousing for the audience.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Top Gun was awesome.
See, and then same thing with Spider-Man: No Way Home. I remember a few
Yep.
scenes that got pretty rousing for the audience.
That was great.
But other than that, I have to go all the way. Well, Ghostbusters Afterlife, there was a bit of depending, like the one audience I saw it with, there was more of a reaction than the other. But when I have to go all the way back to like Infinity War and Endgame before I get any real audience reactions.
Oh,
You know,
want to talk?
Yes.
You want to talk audience reaction? Audience reaction, and I'll say it. I know we say it all the time. RRR in the theater
Yep.
was one of the greatest audience reactions I've ever been a part of in years,
Oh, I can well believe
and I
that.
did not expect that.
Because the also because the antagonist was so wonderfully evil. It was the entire British Empire. It was fantastic. And the way they were portrayed was so nasty. It was excellent.
And I mean, it kind of reminds me of how this whole Halloween Ends thing we just had here recently, right? And that's what I was talking about with the depressing thing. There's a lot of people who are depressed by that movie. And I was comparing it a lot to H2O. Now, technical wise, and maybe even story wise, you could probably argue Halloween Ends is probably a much more it takes more chances and it's a much more original entry into the franchise. That doesn't matter. H2O was the one that was much more satisfying for the audience, right? And that's what I brought up during my review. I'm like, during the last half of this movie, it goes completely downhill, and I'm finding myself sinking into my seat. I can't imagine any audience getting into this movie. So when I saw H2O, when Jamie Lee Curtis has that axe in her hand and they have that wide shot and she's screaming Michael, the whole fucking audience got up like a fucking rock concert. Like, it was loud. Like, you couldn't hear nothing for like the next 2 minutes until the fight started. It was just people screaming out loud. Yeah, get him, get it. You know, it was crazy.
That's how it should be. That's the fun of movies. Terminator 2, I saw it at the Westwood at 12 midnight, filled, and everyone just went nuts all the way through Terminator 2.
What I mean by that is it just feels like we're not having that collective thing where everybody's experiencing, like, and some of these experiences I think people are claiming to have are disingenuous, especially when it comes to this Marvel nonsense and the triumph of it all. That's
well,
what
I will say. I'm going to go to a black theater. Like the audience.
Sure, that's a
I
good
think
idea.
you have a far better experience there than in a more Latin theater. I'll put it that way.
It's the closest theater, and I have a Cinemark, membership there. You know, it's the closest Cinemark, and they're great audiences, and they seem to make up the majority of the.
I would be very interested to hear what the black audience, thinks of this movie, because I can't imagine black men liking this. Just as I have a very hard time seeing how Latin audiences of any gender are going
it's
to
not
enjoy
a stupid
this
gauge.
either.
Someone saying in the theater it's a stupid gauge. That's, culturally, no.
Why would it be stupid?
Well, someone's saying that in you're allowed your opinion in the chat, but it's a different experience. That it's not better, it's not worse. It's just different and it's lively. What's up with that?
Absolutely, ain't nothing up with that. But let's do a couple of super chats here, and then if there's any questions you have about the movie, we can get into that. But Tom, let's carry through some of these super chats. And,
actually, I have 2 from last night that came in and we forgot to hit.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna grab those from Mead last night, real quick.
Oh, from Mead, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Mecha J sent in $5 and said, all these Star Wars and indie news, and I couldn't be any more indifferent towards them. I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning, because there's been more developments in the Star Wars things. But Jeremy Hembry also sent in $5 and says, how do you think the elections are going to affect these entertainment companies' business, law, good or bad? Well, as we saw, what was supposed to be a red wave was more of a puddle last night, so we'll see how that actually affects things going forward. But sorry about that, guys. We missed those last night. Six claiming it's her fault. No, it's not. It's my fault. So don't listen to her. Yeah. But getting into today's chats here.
Yeah, let's begin with okay. Well,
did you have another one you wanted to start with?
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to start with another one here. But let's do Callum Lyle, who sent in first, who says for $10 Australian, The Witcher Season 3 will bomb. Yeah, that's the season where Henry Cavill chose to leave. Because another race swap, and it'll focus on Ciri's sexuality, which is alleged in the books, and they'll put her face on the pride flag. That could very well be. I gave up on The Witcher after Season 1, which I absolutely hated.
I didn't hate Season 1. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I look forward to hearing what you think about Season 3 when that airs.
Well, I was concerned when he left because I figured he didn't like what was going on in Season 3, but was too caught up in it to actually make any kind of dent in it. And then he said,
"Oh no, I think he had a 3-year contract. That's why."
Yeah.
Oh, that could be it.
That would be the standard Netflix deal: 3-year contract plus renewal. But it could also be that he had an out in his contract since he's an actor of such a stature. We don't know. So
that could be too. But my point is this was a choice that was made during that season because they were shooting it still this summer, and we already know his replacement. So they already had been looking for a replacement probably while they were shooting this summer.
Yeah, they were. And the most recent we heard is that they were looking for the replacement while they were filming, as you said.
That's what I would
So
imagine.
he
Yeah.
probably decided to leave sometime after season 2.
Or yeah, it could have been at the beginning of this last year. It's hard to say. I mean, but
As soon as
to
he
me, like,
realized that the writers weren't taking this as serious as he was out.
I think some other writers left with him. That's kind of the point I was getting at. Like
Yeah,
that one guy
yeah.
that had talked about X-Men and whatnot. But no, because there's some people who think that he left Witcher for Superman. No, is not have anything to do with the other. He could have done both still. He was just unhappy with what was going on at The Witcher, and Superman just happened to come along at the right time. And again, much like with the Just Snyder cut of Justice League, it was all a happenstance of who was in control. You had a change of regime, and this regime wanted Henry Cavill back, so it just all happened in a whirlwind. And that's where I would not be careful of all these rumors you guys are hearing right now about this director's doing this and we're getting this movie directed by that director. And I'm not even going to say certain names or anything. I'm just going to say take it all with a huge motherfucking grain of salt. Because right now, as far as I know, James Gunn is sitting in front of a computer as we speak, trying to figure out what's going to happen for the next 10 years. Because that's not something he just came up with overnight. He's been working on it for the last week. So him this weekend being on Twitter talking to fans was him getting ready to go in and decide some of this shit. So none of these decisions have been made yet. Now, the whole thing with Jason Momoa could be connected with DC. I don't know.
I don't think he's working on anything in the future. I think he's been told to fix what's there right now.
You could be right on certain things like there's
just no time.
Well, he said his
not that he's going to be working on these other shows, these movies, trying to fix them, and he doesn't have time to do other things. That's not true, but he's going to be busy.
Well, I mean, he said his first order is to basically figure out what's going to happen for the next 10 years. He said the first movie out the gate in his regime will not be a revival film, meaning it's not going to be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, etc. And he is calling it the new DCU. He is, they are listening to the fans, so I think the air cut has a chance. But yeah, other than that, as far as that goes, one has nothing to do with the other. Was my point to begin with. But anyway, thank you, Callum Lyle and Andre. What was the one that you wanted to address right away?
Yeah, no, because Maximum Overdrive sent us $50.
Wow!
So thank you so much, Maximum Overdrive. That's much appreciated. And he says for that, good afternoon, gentlemen. The MCU's biggest problem they have is the writing is nowhere near as good as it was at the beginning, and they clearly don't have someone overlooking to fill in the plot holes their bad writers are creating. Yes, this is exactly right. I mean, you can tell while watching this movie right here, the writing is just simply inconsistent. It's TV level writing. It's written as a TV series because it's so fractured and so divided. It seems like here you have an episode, here's another episode, here's another episode, and they slice them together. There's no movie narrative here.
Well,
it's episodic.
That's when I saw those two scenes, and I'm just, and you're just again confirming my fear. I saw these two horribly acted, dialogued, but then filmed scenes that were so flat it looked like Coogler went into a theater and said, "We're going to put on a play. We're going to call it Wakanda Forever, and go and act on the stage, and I'll film it." It just looks so bad. Oh man.
Yeah, it wasn't impressive, but yeah, I do think that's a big part of the problem. They have a writer problem right now, and ultimately there's an oversight problem. Because it's because of the lack of oversight that these shitty writers are allowed to do what they've been doing for all of Phase 4, which really hasn't worked. I mean, this movie right here, again, it's not as bad as the Eternals, but it's right down there. Eternals is the only one in Phase 4 I would say is worse than this. But this, to me, is the second worst movie of Phase 4. Which means that it's somewhere in the bottom 4 of the MCU as a whole. So that's where I would put it. And yeah, that's the super chat that I wanted to raise. And with
All
that,
right, let's go
get
back to
to
the
the
top.
beginning. Yeah.
And then Callum Lau sent in another 5 and said, T'Challa died of a virus? Seriously? Was this movie written white guilt liver? But Kevin Feige is one of those who probably yes. Yeah, was it a virus of unknown origin, Andre?
It was a virus of unknown origin and unknown specification that killed him, and he was implied to have been infected with it. And
So they killed Black Panther with the coup.
Maybe again they were very vague about it. The movie opens with him on his deathbed dying and Shuri trying to generate a cure. And we only see it from her perspective. And then she has found something that has a 30% chance of working, but it's too late.
Oh,
well, that's how the movie opens.
wow.
Of course, she had to come up with something that would have worked.
Yes, something that would have worked. It was just a little bit
fail.
too late. Oh, and here's the best part. That's
so
his
she's better
fault.
than Superman.
Well, but actually, they
it's
blame
his
him
fault
on it
too. Are you kidding me?
No. It's T'Challa's fault because he was too proud to let her know that he needed her help, and by the time he did, there was not enough time.
Oh no, he's Steve
for her
Jobs.
to come up with the cure. She missed it by like seconds.
So
it should have been venereal disease.
So what you're saying?
Oh, nasty.
Well, it might have been. We don't know.
Wait.
So Namor did kill him.
No, Michael B. Jordan did.
Never mind.
So T'Challa, M'Baku, and Namor, they're all neutralized. You know,
M'Baku is the one that gets away the easiest because he's just portrayed as an idiot.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one scene. Oh.
So he's portrayed as a complete idiot, but other than that, he's the one male that gets away the most unscathed in the movie. So basically, T'Challa, he died because he didn't want to ask Shuri for help, and because of that, he had to die. And Namor, he's just emasculated. And I mean that quite literally. Like he's figuratively castrated.
D. Bud Martin's right. Shuri should have said, "Missed it by that much."
Yeah, kind of.
Man, this is bad. I mean, from what you're telling me, but
want to know what she does?
That was my Don Adams there.
Yeah, go ahead.
She cuts off his.
It's that bad.
She cuts his wings.
Yeah,
I can do a Don Adams if you need him.
That's the figurative castration.
Oh Lord.
Missed it by that much.
And after that, his girlfriend, is very disappointed with him, and he has to make up some bullshit of like, no, I totally meant to bend the knee all along. Oh yeah, and he bends the knee. All of the Atlanteans ends up bending the knee.
Wow.
That's kind of like why I feel that this ain't gonna go down well.
The victim groups in Hollywood are so unbelievably sanctimonious these days. There's just no getting away from it.
So I'm shocked that Victoria Alonso could let's see what Mike has to say. Mike says for $20. But wait, you guys are being meanie faces. Isn't this story that was never told about my brown man fish origins? Isn't this movie going to get me all inspired to put on my green booty shorts and a green nose ring this weekend? Well, it might be before you see the movie. I don't know that afterwards, after you all bent the knee.
I'd like to say that I had fish for lunch. Just want to say.
I just want to say all signs point to no.
Yeah, but honestly, I was they went out of their way to humiliate him.
It sounds like it.
Like I was offended on behalf of everyone who in any kind of way identifies with Mesoamerican culture, the Mayas, everything like that, because they go he's the villain. He's completely the villain, and they go out of their way to humiliate towards the end there. I mean, that was the most humiliating defeat in the MCU.
That's bizarre.
I thought so. I mean, so I'm really curious to hear what you all have to say, but I reacted to it. Like,
Right.
whoa,
That was your reaction, which is valid.
That was my reaction.
As a man, as a father,
Yes.
you know, and a comic book lover.
Yes.
As a Norwegian Latino.
Well, his wife.
Well, my
technically married into it.
Yeah. Well, in a sense, yeah.
That's true.
Mr. Tickle Trunk says Disney makes shows of movies and movies of shows. Yeah.
See,
actually, yeah.
Let me just say from what Andre's telling me, right? And like the literal, figurative castration of a Latino man.
Yeah, by cutting off
brown
his
man
wings.
on film. So one of the pushbacks that I got was
maybe I'm reading too much into it. That's why I
Hey.
want to hear what you say, but that's just my reading of it.
Sure. And I haven't seen it yet, but what this commenter is so heavy on is I'm dying for a Latino Mexican superhero that my son can look up to. And I said, don't look at Hollywood to do it for you. He already has a hero. It's you. You're his father. You're the hero. That's right. That's what Hollywood does and social media does. And then what happens? You're completely let down. Yeah, because they're not interested. They're not interested in putting up something really multidimensional and fully fleshed out and incredible stories that are uplifting. Right now, that sounds like they just want, all women incredible, and let's get the men down on their knees. Anyways.
That quite literally, yeah, because all the of Namor's people literally end up on their knees, bowing down, giving up. That's where they end up. But anyway, yeah, I will agree that look to your father, and also for any Latin hero, look to Zorro and possibly Blue Beetle. I mean, DC is your hope right now. You
your hope.
think it wouldn't be so with Victoria Alonso, but she seems to have a problem with men, including Latin men.
Man, I wanted to be Zorro so badly when I was a kid.
Zorro freaking rules. You have to check out our Zorro retrospective if you haven't seen it.
I dressed up as Zorro for Halloween when I was 7 years old, like 2 years in a row. I was like,
yeah, I noticed that last night when we were listening to that clip from George Lopez that he totally forgot about Zorro. He's like, yeah, we have the first Mexican American or Mexican superhero, whatever it was. It's like, well, there's a lot more before him.
Well, he was not played by.
I got an email,
Zorro.
Chato. I got an email from one of my viewers and the comic book expert. A whole line of Latino superheroes, like decades and decades. Just Marvel. And so I want to do a panel just.
There's a handful. There's a handful of X-Men too as well that were.
Yeah. But Paulie, you have to go. I understand.
Paulie has to leave. Yeah.
Great conversation,
and I have to go.
Thanks for being here.
There is a new Midnight's Edge Espanol video. The boys go after the Rings of Power. It's a great talk that they have. And then later today, I'll be live on my channel. Come on by. We're gonna have some Latin jazz music just for you guys.
He's just like Chris.
Awesome.
He's keeping all the good stuff for his own fucking channel, and I don't have my own channel. I give my best to Midnight Edge. I don't leave anything back.
We love Paul. He does everything he can for us.
We love you all, and we especially love when we can swipe your content.
We love both Pauls.
Which Paul? Yeah. Be well, everyone.
So yeah,
take care,
and
Paul.
I can't wait for the Midnight's Edge Espanol discussion on this movie.
Oh yeah.
But let's move on.
Let's get back into some more super chats here and see what you guys want to know about the movie. Tennille says,
I think it's mimicking
how predictable.
a throwing up sound there.
Could be. But if I do that too hard, I'm not feeling well. I might actually throw up.
Yeah.
Black Wolf Ink says, Andre, your reviews of Doctor Strange 2, Thor 4, and Black Adam has made the experience far greater. Thus, I trust your view of Black Panther 2 100%, fam.
Oh,
there
thank
you
you.
go.
That's much appreciated.
Well,
I just hope that that you suddenly won't decide, holy shit, this was awesome. Andre was completely wrong. Like, it's always subjective. But I'm just honest, and if something I really enjoyed that I expected I wouldn't, like Black Adam, I went
Sure, of
in there
course.
expecting it to suck. And it blew me away. And of course, I'm going to say that I would have done the same thing here. But sadly, this movie right here, I thought it was more insulting than I had anticipated.
well, and you've
I
maintained that black men are not going to like this movie, and I
yeah,
think you're right.
I don't think so. There's nothing that black men liked in the first one. None of that is here. On the
Everyone is
contrary,
talking about the lead actress's performance, that it's Oscar worthy.
I like the problem ain't even the performances. Like, there's far deeper issues here at the script and fundamental story stage, and those issues to me are so deep that I can't even worry about the performances.
And I don't understand why they can't get the script right unless it's, again, network notes or studio notes,
No, I
which are
think that's
diabolical
kind of what it is.
and
I don't
have
think there's
ruined
a
many
corporate
a
will to
film.
do the right movie. There's a corporate will here to do messaging, because this here is obviously messaging first, and then they've constructed a movie around the message, and then it goes to hell. Here they started with, okay, this movie right here, we want to make sure that not one single male character gets away on a high note, not a single one. We're going to humiliate this character in this group. We're going to ridicule this character in this group, and we're going to uplift all of the ladies across the board. And even this woman right here who looks stupid, she's going to be on top of everything and throw her man in jail. That appears to be like
Jesus.
what they've got going for here. Yeah, that's what happens with Martin Freeman's character with Token
Oh,
White.
for fuck's sake! Well,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing. I was Tolkien. He's Tolkien White because
Yeah.
he was in The Hobbit.
Yeah.
No, and that's why I brought up Birds of Prey, Andre, because a lot of things you were saying, that's what it reminded me of, right? Because I had gotten into that discussion and some arguments about Birds of Prey, where people are like, oh no, you're just taking it seriously. It's like, no, as a man walking out of that movie, it made me feel like shit. There was no men in that movie that were decent. In fact, the only decent guy in the movie is she goes out of her way to make fun of him, and that's the sandwich maker. You even have another example is how her landlord just turns on her for no good fucking reason.
Exactly
Right?
the same thing.
Like, yeah, it's a lot of that throughout the whole movie. It's like men are horrible, women are great.
Well,
Fuck you.
and from
You know?
on the from a simplistic perspective, all the women felt like they were part of some sorority. If James Gunn had done it and said that, I'm just guessing, that I'm going to be working with 5 to 6 women, one's going to be 6'6", one's going to be a midget, I mean, it would have been a real wild character ride, even from the way they looked, but they just, okay, they all went to the same sorority. There was nothing interesting about them. It's not
James
hard
Gunn
to
would
make
have been able to
interesting-
do a lot more with this.
Pardon me, what?
James Gunn would have been able to do a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's all women doesn't necessarily make it all bad.
No,
I would love to
exactly.
see James Gunn do that. Like an
Oh,
all-woman
he could have done
superhero team,
amazing.
he'd knock it out of the fucking park.
You watch the Netflix series Blockbuster, all the employees are essentially the same, and their lines are interchangeable. And you go, okay, that's really one of my sacrosanct rules of sitcom, is that no line is interchangeable, and it's not even interchangeable from a different show. So if someone in your show can say it, if someone in another sitcom can say your line, you change the line or you delete it. And all the lines in Blockbuster are interchangeable, and the Birds of Prey had exactly that same problem. Wow, none of these women are different enough for me.
Yeah, but yeah,
so simple. I don't get it.
Well, but here's like the thing. This is like my point. It's not the problem. It's not a matter of there being majority black people, majority women. None of that is the issue. The issue to me is that they have started with, okay, we want this message, this message, this message, and then we're going to construct a story around that.
And they're
That's
going to
what-
be proud as heck about their
Yes.
messaging little film, no matter what happens to it, because it's important. It had to be said. Damn the torpedoes.
Exactly. And that's what I see when I look at this movie here and so many others. They didn't start out with the story and then add messaging to it. No, they started with the messaging and built the story around it. And that's why the story is so bad, because it really
Well, that's too bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I was looking forward to it.
Well, you haven't even mentioned like Riri or anything like that yet, but
we'll get to, I saw there were some super chats. We'll get to
okay,
it.
we'll get
But,
to that. Gundam Warrior here.
Iron Woman.
Yeah.
Is she
Yeah.
in it?
Yes, she's
I
in
saw
it.
some pictures. She looks like
She's
she's
very
very
Set it up
prominent.
on Disney Plus series.
Yeah,
Is
they're
she-
already talking about all the Disney.
Is she
Plus
as
series.
exciting as Iron Man?
No.
Gundam Warriors here and says, let's face reality, Bozeman's death just gave them all the excuses to fast track the all new, all different garbage. You're not wrong, Gundam War. We already knew this was something that was in the
That's too
cards,
bad.
but it was before Chadwick even passed, right? Like that was the thing. And the way they're handling it to me just sounds horrible. First of all, it shouldn't even be Black Panther. It should just be Wakanda Forever. And I think Andre's right. It would have been better handled as a TV series.
Yeah.
Because then it wouldn't feel like you're trying to cash in on Bozeman's fucking corpse. If not,
Story-wise, this is structured as a TV series. Or some
Well, not just that.
miniseries.
I think the first mistake, and I take back what I said before about not recasting him, they should have just done that. Because like I said, over time I've talked to people, and especially black men, and they said, yeah, to me it was an important character. To my son, it was an important character. To my family, it's an important character. You know, it's nice to have this character not only there just for representation's sake, but them actually be a decent character and have weight in the universe. That was the thing that meant more to them, right? It wasn't just the token black guy. And what did they do? They erased him. And
Completely.
It was still such an important movie. It was a popular movie that everybody liked. It wasn't you know, some kind of you know, I don't know. I can't even think the term anymore. So it's that there was a watershed movie, and they could have built on that. It wasn't a blaxploitation movie. That's what I meant.
no.
Nope.
But now it's become an exploitation movie, if you ask me.
It's too bad.
Dr. Longdongler sends us in a super sticker. Thank you for that. It is a thumbs up. Please hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. And we got Double Back again, who says, did they Chuck Namor?
No,
or did they
Cuck.
Cuck Namor? Cuck Namor sounds like it.
Completely.
Namor.
Did we get the previous super chatter from 1 or 2 super chats ago? Did we read it on screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. But yeah, no, they completely cocked him. As I said, he was utterly humiliated towards the end there in a way that surprised me. He literally took the knee.
Lovely. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, Wakanda, you'll sit down in the theater forever. Yeah, 3.5 hours. Hypergiver 2, I mean, sorry, Jesus. Says, which is worse, Wakanda Forever or BVS?
Fair warning, I actually kind of enjoy the director's cut of Batman v Superman. So Wakanda Forever, obviously. Which again, I put roughly on par with, slightly above the Eternals. The Eternals is worse than this, but it's not much worse.
Oh, I'd probably put the theatrical cut in front of Eternals anyway, so a BVS. I hate that movie, but I don't hate it as much as some of
the
recent shit.
Internals was a complete waste.
Did you see it towards the end there?
The Internals was a waste.
Yeah, what did you think about what it did with the MCU? There's no dude sticking out to planet Earth.
All I could tell was it was a fight to just keep everybody on the screen with the same amount of time. Everyone had to, yeah. I mean, it retconned a lot of things.
I don't even remember what the movie was about.
It was dull. I mean, who cared, really? Again, it is the problem of they can't out Thanos. They're trapped.
Oh, they could. They're not doing it correctly. You've got Dr. Doom.
That. I mean,
you've got other characters.
Galacticus is maybe the one character.
Well, we're overlooking Dr. Doom quite a bit too. Like we haven't even had a proper Doctor Doom in this universe
No,
yet.
no,
Well, the
but-
problem is you don't have to out Thanos. That's a fundamentally flawed position. You just have to bring up the next challenge of a different nature. That's all you have to do, really.
Right, and then
You don't have to
write
make it
a comic where your comic book hero actually forgot about the superpowers that you saw in the previous comic book series. Wait a second, all they had to do was do this, and everything would be fine. I mean, that's a disease of comics themselves.
Yeah.
It's not a problem specific to movies.
No,
Well,
exactly.
Thanos-
But still, the problem is you just create inflation of power and
Correct.
inflation of villains,
Yes.
and no good will come of that. And that's where they've tried to screw themselves. They've created inflation, and people
that's my
have
point.
rejected that inflation when they should have just gone a different direction.
And that's where I say, like, Doctor Doom. Why? Because you, at first glance, you're like, well, wait, he's not nearly as powerful as Thanos. But here's the difference between him and Thanos. Doctor Doom is more personal, right? He'll go after each and every one of these people without them even realizing it. And by the time they realize Doctor Doom is the one behind it all, it's too late.
Yeah, exactly. So you just changed the stakes. You don't have to be galactic level threat every single time.
Well, that's the Marvel's biggest mistake right there,
Yeah.
is that everything has to be galactic level.
And
No.
there, it's where they go wrong. Screw the like what they should have done for like Phase 4 is screw the galactic thing. You need to just take it back in close and personal and have personal stakes. Audiences are going to appeal more to that. I mean, just look at the first season of Daredevil of Netflix. It was nothing galactic there, and it's some of the best thing Marvel has ever put out.
But he wasn't superpowered either.
But still, it's a matter of the stakes.
Oh, sure. Oh no, listen,
Yeah.
I think we and the bad guy in Jessica Jones' first season was just terrifying. I mean,
Exactly.
that was an unbelievably terrifying series, and her having to deal with her personal issues. I mean, it was that was fantastic.
I mean, it doesn't matter if the superhero has superpowers. That's not going to stop their entire life from unraveling around them by a far superior intellectual enemy.
And she had superpowers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good example where, and who was the guy who played it? The Brit, Doctor Who.
Oh, not shit.
He's in Good Omen.
Yeah, exactly.
Tennant.
Yeah, David Tennant.
Oh man.
Or even better, just look at, for instance, Avengers or Captain America: Civil War, with Baron Zemo basically being the one driving the Avengers apart.
Well, and I was gonna bring Zemo up as an example of how he was kind of underutilized.
So, is Marvel going to bring back the Deviants?
Well, and their big mistake
Hopefully
this last phase, I'll flat out say it. The biggest mistake was Wanda should have been your villain. Period. End stop. Like she should have been the whole villain of that's the going along with the villain kind of thing. We didn't expect her to be the villain. There you go. Boom. That could have been exciting, but no, they fucked that all up. It's not too hard to do. But Olaf Van Ness has been a member for 17 months. Thank you for that. It says articles of men being sexist or racist and review bombing at Midnight's Edge. Probably pre-written stories. Oh, yeah. Well, we saw this morning they're already finagling with the Rotten Tomatoes score. So I can't wait for the shenanigans to start happening.
It's going to be fun.
Mecha J says, so how was the Riri Williams Ironheart portrayed? The character?
Bestest ever. Ray all over again.
Of course.
Yeah.
And we're going to be losing Paul here. So I was going to see if I could.
At 2:00. Yep.
Find someone for Paul.
Back, so
does this dress make my ass look big? It says, hey, Paul, how about Gefilte Man?
Gefilte Man. He's very fishy. Gefilte Man along with Nema together. Oi. For sure, Gefilte Man is circumcised. That's all I can tell you. It's the only thing I know for sure about Gefilte Man.
Oh, there you go. That's the only thing anyone wanted to know. So,
I'm not seeing.
Or maybe the last thing they wanted to know, but now they know anyway.
I'm going to get the moil on the surface who has my foreskin. That's why I hate humanity. They took my foreskin.
Boy. We got one here from Red Tigress, who's been a member for 15 months. Says, "Hail, Andre, Tom." I think she means Chato.
I know. I like Chanto. It's good.
Chanto. I'm holding out for a hero.
Yeah.
A good story. And to the studios trying to divide the fan bases. Indeed. And there's a little more to it. It says, you don't have to destroy the past to move forward. This is true. This is very true. And that's why shows like Cobra Kai and franchises that have been able to find ways to go forward while still paying homage to the past or respect to the past. Ghostbusters Afterlife is another one I know. And some people gripe about that, but it's like, you know what? The beauty of that is you can take the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters out of there, and the movie still works. That's the beauty of it. So to me personally, I like the story, and that's kind of what you have to be able to do is because it pays that much respect to the past is that you don't need them in there is what I was trying to say. But yeah, you don't have to tear down all these characters before to go forward. That's one of the biggest misconceptions they have for some reason.
Yeah.
And that's why we heard that the Batwoman didn't do too well either. But going back to the top again here, we got Black Wolf Inc. who says, by not recasting T'Challa, Marvel cost themselves half the original box office and will absolutely not break 400K at the box office. Now, I think he means 400 million.
It's going to make 400 million for sure. If it's going to break 800 million, that's a different matter. But 400 million,
worldwide, I think it'll hit 400 million and then poop out.
Yeah, I'm in that range. I think I said 6 something. It was finish off at.
Depends on how bad the backlash is, but yeah, I can see how it might not do more than that.
Well, I'm really shocked at the difference of yours and Chris's reviews compared to let's call them the fart catchers. I'm really shocked at the variation.
Are you?
I hope that's sarcasm. Yeah, I was gonna say.
No. I mean, it's tragic that it's that diverse. Speaking of diversity,
yeah. Well,
this is the diversity that they were talking about. Oh my God, I now get it. It's between shitty and good. That's the diversity. Oh my God, now I'm understanding.
Yeah, we only get 2 choices anymore. You can't have more than 2, then people get confused.
Oh my God.
That's why they've simplified everything. Politics, flavors.
Oh yeah.
Movies, TV. It's all either sucks or doesn't. That's all it is.
Or it's a conspiracy, or it isn't.
Conspiracy.
Anyway, or not.
He goes on to say, I bet Black Adam will benefit from this wholeheartedly. I don't even know where I got Black Widow from. I don't know about benefit from it, but I think that Black Adam is going to be a bit of a thorn in its side because Black Adam has not been dropping as significantly as most of these kind of movies do.
It'll putter along.
Yeah, I think it's going to do another 10-15 million over the weekend, but that's going to be the 10-15 million that Disney is going to be like, son of a bitch. That's a big difference between 75 million opening weekend in the US and a $100 million opening weekend in the US, let's say, kind of thing.
Well, Black Adam right now is looking for coinage in the couch, and we'll see whether Disney will also between the cushions.
Yeah, I think that this movie is going to open big, though not as big as they would have liked, but it's going to fall off pretty quickly after that. So then it's just a matter of how much are they going to be able to make in the first week and a half, because that's where the earnings is. After that, it's going to fall on its face. Soon as the word of mouth spreads.
Well, and then we have to calculate when the attacks on the fans for not showing up are going to start.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to start tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're not going to wait long.
Like I said, they're already getting ready. Some shenanigans going on over there with the Rotten Tomatoes and everything.
Have they hired actors to talk from cars?
Not yet, but we're waiting.
Give it time. Maybe over the course of the weekend, we'll have some
Martin
actors.
Freeman. Oh, no, I think he pre-recorded his, Paul, probably.
You know what? I'm going to start a series. Actors in cars kvetching about the audience.
Yeah, has Chris Evans done like a car video yet?
No, he needs to.
He's next. He's next.
Yeah.
No, this one will probably be Freeman, though. They'll put him out there in a car, and he'll be like, why can't you racist Americans go see Black Panther Wakanda Forever? All that kind of shit. Yeah.
Now, Mark Ruffalo is the one I think who's going to be next.
He'll be in the back seat.
In the child seat.
He keeps popping up and going, yeah, you fucking racist, go.
That's right.
It's important. This is more important than the election. He'll be back there just yelling and shit.
Well, probably.
That's when he shows more emotion than when he actually acts. But Nathaniel Smith here has a super chat for you that is directed to you, Paul. Hiya, fellas from NYC. Well, hey, New York, represent. Tom's recent comment on the importance of Chadwick is 1,000% spot on. Well, thank you. Andre and Paul love you guys. Well, there you go. Some love from Nathaniel. Law. It is probably in most states, except for Kansas. They allow you to not love
and Michigan.
Michigan. Well, that's because they just don't give a shit there. Then Tennille says, but wait, as I recall, Tom grew up as a poor black man, not impoverished black youth. Don't make me sound more than I am. So you've got our boxes checked. Well, now I'm grown up to be a white man, so I can't anymore. That's the problem. That, of course, is a jerk reference for those who may not be aware of it before they try and cancel me.
I made jerk chicken the other day.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Steve Martin jerk. But yeah.
Oh, that's funny too. That was a great movie.
I was born a poor black child.
What? I'm not black.
These cans are defective. Real talk. Well, we got some real talk from Real Talk. Thanks for the warning, guys. I was never going to watch without T'Challa, and I could smell the Woman King stench through the first trailer.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's the sanctimonious sanctimony again.
Indeed.
And that first trailer is very honest, and it's a very fair description of what the movie is.
Yep. Randall Orser has been a member for 2 months and says, do you see WKF going to China? I doubt it. Wakanda Forever, I think it might get lucky, even though I don't know. What happened? Why didn't Black Adam? Why did that get blocked at the last minute? Does anybody know?
Because China only allows so many movies, and they don't have that deal that they do with Disney, where basically the CCP co-owns Disney's Chinese operations. They can basically seize the Shanghai and the Hong Kong park, stuff like that, which means that Black Adam has to fight in with quotas. It has to struggle with quotas.
And Pierce Brosnan is a supporter of the Dalai Lama.
There you go. That too is going to.
We all need to completely ignore China. Bye, guys. Like, forget it. This genuflecting to China has been a complete waste of time. The NBA, everything. It's just unseemly.
Also, I've honestly never understood it, but yeah, other than the money aspect that we never got.
Oh, it's just money.
And it's not even that much money. They barely get to keep anything. That's what we never understood. Because we look at, okay, so you do all of this to appease China, and you're left with, 10% of the Chinese box office? 25%? If you really invest in there and you create the Chinese cooperation where
we've heard they don't even pay that sometimes.
And still, that if you're lucky, you might in theory get 25% if you do that. And that's not sure. I don't know why they bother.
Because of greed. Because they think they can do it.
Well, evidently they can't, and they're learning that message. But yeah, moving on. While we still have Paul here.
Dark Winter says, "Holy Shazam! Trump's Black Panther without trying."
Oh. Well, will Shazam trump Black Panther? Oh, holy shit! No, Shazam isn't out yet. Oh,
I have to string out some meaning of that sentence before I'm able to fully answer.
When is Shazam coming out?
Not till March.
Well, I'm sure that Shazam will be better.
Yeah, it could very
well. Holy Shazam trumps Black Panther. Or if you mean like the original Shazam movie, yeah, that trumps Black Panther. And I didn't even like the original Shazam, but if that's what you mean, yeah, the original Shazam was better than this Black Panther.
I think that's what he's trying to say, is that the
Yeah.
original Black Panther wasn't. And again, I will admit that a lot of people overpraise that movie, but what I won't do is deny what that meant to the Black community,
Exactly. And
especially
I would
Black
say,
men and sons and fathers. Yeah, sorry.
Original Black Panther over Shazam, but Shazam over Wakanda Forever.
I would say they're both. Yeah. Well, honestly, I actually had more fun with Shazam, but I enjoyed Black Panther more than I thought I would, let's say. But I was more upset with like the death of like them killing what's his face, Andy Serkis off right away. That really pissed me off.
Yeah, that was
the ending. The ending went on just a little too long and was a little too animated, but not nearly as bad as others. I mean, as far as a straightforward Marvel film at that time, considering, it was not too bad. But yeah, if that's what you mean, I guess I can agree with that. Paul, anything to say to that?
Yeah, I mean, Shazam was a fine, silly first effort. Clearly, they were watching their budget, and I totally appreciated that. There were things that I think could have been a lot better, but you know what? Just as a straight up silly film, I thought it worked quite well.
Yeah, and I think it all depends on where your point of view from Shazam comes from, whether it was the TV show or the comics too.
And I didn't know Shazam at all.
Yeah. It's time for Hollywoke to end, and F you, Alex Kurtzman sends in 14 South African rands and says, for Chris, well, sadly he left before we could get to this, are they really doing a full reboot of Rings of Power?
He said no.
He said no, it's not going to be a full-on. Andre, did you want to address this, or Paul? Sound like
I don't know any details here, but I would be shocked if they do a full-on reboot. I think the last thing I heard from Chris is that they are still sidelining the showrunners, but they're not going to do it before Emmy season, at least not publicly, so as not to do anything to risk Emmy chances. And then from season 2 onwards, it's still going to be a retooling, because reboot is something that can mean several different things. Of course, in an ideal world, they would scrap everything and do a complete season 1 of a new series altogether. Kind of like giving it the Cage treatment from Star Trek, but I have a hard time seeing that happening, but I wouldn't rule it out completely.
I think it's doable. I think you could, in theory, call the first season the awakening of Sauron, and then bump the second season several decades or hundreds of years later, when he's now set, and get rid of everybody. And a whole new team now have to deal with Sauron.
Yeah, then you could get rid of the stinky Harfoot, so that would help.
Everyone. You can get rid of everyone, because they did their job. Sauron has now been revealed. Job is done. You got a whole bunch of other rings to create, but the rings are incidental unless you're going to be using them somehow, and that's difficult. So I think it's possible, but that's what they need to do.
Yeah, don't disagree. Don't disagree.
And I have a business meeting to go to. I might just pop back in afterwards if I can, but I'm popping out, and you two fine gentlemen I know are fully capable of handling this show.
I think we'll be fine. But thanks for joining, and we hope to see you again afterwards if we're still live.
Yeah, we'll see how long the business meeting lasts, and we'll talk to you later, guys.
Yeah, and in the meantime, if anyone else has like any spoilerific questions that they want answered, then go for it. And for those that came in late, like Mari Gowan, no, we were not we, as in myself and Chris Gore, were not overjoyed with Wakanda Forever, to put it lightly. And with that, let's move on here with these super chats. maybe Tom had to drop out quickly too. So then I shall move on with these super chats. Then we have again, these are questions for Chris, but I'll answer them since I also saw the movie, and we'll give it to him later. Tennille89 said, Chris, but nothing says high stakes like the protagonist of the previous film dying off screen. I learned that from Alien Covenant. What a hit. Yeah, exactly. And this is going to be fun to see how this works out. Could be like the same thing again. And then Mecha J also has a question for Chris, but I also saw the movie. How was Martin Freeman's role in Wakanda Forever? If this movie is a disservice to black men, how well does it portray the white man? Well, the white man, and literally the only white man in the movie is Martin Freeman, who is the Tolkien white. And he is constantly mocked and ridiculed. He is constantly referred to as the colonizer, but he's their favorite colonizer. So he's an acceptable pet that will help out and do Wakanda's bidding. And for this, he is ultimately thrown in jail by his ex-wife, Elaine from Seinfeld, who obviously fools him, pretends to be stupid, but he's the stupid one because he's a man. And so he goes down towards the end. So yeah, that's how the one white man is treated in this movie. Super Cosmic Mutant Honey Candle Squid says for $5, I said it before and I'll say it again. They're taking heroes away from boys. T'Challa was pushed as a role model for black boys, and they off him. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's my protest here as well. That is my objection. This is what I really, truly respected with the original Black Panther. I liked it fine, but it wasn't for me. It was for black fathers and black boys. That's who it was for. And they took that right away. And they robbed M'Baku. And not humiliated, but they did embarrass him. They made him a joke in this movie. Which was a shame because he's the one that should have been the next Black Panther. If you didn't recast, if the mantle was to be passed, should have gone to M'Baku. That would have worked too.
Yeah.
But,
all I know is that if Chapek is playing some 40 fucking chess, he better make his moves real quick.
Yeah, because
DC is about to knock these motherfuckers out.
And
they're bringing the boys back to town, right? Like, it's like we're giving the boys back what they want here. The toys are going to be selling. You watch.
The contrast between Black Adam, which hasn't done amazing at the box office, but is loved by those who have seen it, and Black Panther here, it couldn't be a greater contrast.
Well, I just mean the MCU as a whole. It's turning into the MCU.
The MCU is done for. I mean, it's ruined.
And I'm not saying we can't have women characters. Don't get me wrong. That's not even what it's about. It's about, like I said, it's the tearing down of every male character. And then they turn around and need 3 or 4 women characters to take his place.
Yep. So, it's not a matter of that at all, but it's a matter of the deliberate tearing down of the male characters. That's the issue here. It's not giving female characters. Do more female characters. Never the issue. It's the active, overt, and deliberate, utter destruction of the male characters.
Yep, exactly my point. Then moving on, we've got Liam John Smith, who's been a member for 3 months at the Crown level. And this is a 2-parter here. So this was for Chris, but we'll do our best to answer it here. How would the Star Wars sequels be if Trevorrow had the script and choreography, JJ location and sound design, Ryan shot, managed them all under Chapek's watch, and each at least 3 years apart? Well, that's
we're gonna have to give that one to Chris next week.
Yeah, to be honest though, you got too many cooks in that kitchen already. That's a problem. First, the biggest issue with the Star Wars sequels was it wasn't a unified vision, first and foremost. Trevorrow's script was good, but that was just because he managed to work with what he had in front of him. But that only worked so far as he had Carrie Fisher or Mark Hamill. And of course, Disney was not going to play ball and give him any leeway whatsoever to do any of those things. So that left them going back to J.J. Abrams to begin with. But I mean, I get what you're saying. You want like a visionary style, kind of like Rian Johnson's was, and the toys and all that kind of stuff that JJ had at his disposal, but with the quality of a script from Trevorrow. In theory, maybe that would work, but I just think it'd turn into it would be the same kind of cobbled mess we got. I'm not even sure if they had let Trevorrow make his movie, if it would have fixed everything or not. It was a much better script than The Rise of the Skywalker, or Rise of Palpatine, as Andre likes to call it. But in the end of the day, I don't know if it would have still turned out any better, because Last Jedi still happened, unfortunately. Andre, anything?
Yeah, no, I really have nothing to add to that. That sounds about right.
Yeah, you're pretty much not a huge Star Wars fan on that, but let's try and save that for next time Chris is here. Grimzilla is here and says Black Adam was a better black male hero in Hawkman, who I initially had no faith in, but was pleasantly surprised by his performance. And then goes on to say, I'll be seeing Black Adam again this weekend to spite this film. There you go. It'll be interesting to see if a lot of people do.
It'd be fun if they did send Marvel a message.
Yeah. Then Liam John Smith says, did you hear about Elizabeth Holmes' case update? No. Why? What's up with that? Elizabeth Holmes. What the hell's that? Isn't that one chick that...
Offhand, I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, that's that chick with that. That is way out of our purview. Sorry. That's that chick that had to do with the blood testing controversy.
Oh, that
yeah.
I mean, is it a woman or is it a they them? Because
it's a woman, as far as I know.
Because when they opened they's mouth, I was in doubt.
Oh, she deliberately makes her voice sound deeper so people take her more seriously. That was part of her gimmick.
Okay.
The closest we could get to this is, I think, Netflix or somebody like that did a movie about it or something like that. And sorry, Liam, I have not heard any updates, and I'm not even in my purview. Sorry.
I have absolutely no. I haven't paid attention.
I guess it looks like she's been denied a new trial, is all. So not surprising.
I'm surprised anyone fell for it. I'm surprised no one wanted some more documentation on what the hell is this, because she basically promised everything, and how could so many investors fall for it? That's like my big question there. But yeah, no, I don't know any details, and I look forward. But she scammed a lot of very rich, very powerful people out of their money. So she's going to go down for that.
Yeah, so she's been denied a new trial, it looks like. Gabriel Quiroga says, I'm relying solely on YouTube for reviews on Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I don't blame you. Don't blame you one bit there. Tim Hayes has been a member for 17 months. Thank you for that, Tim Hayes. We appreciate that. How you doing, Tim? Marksman 117B says Jeremy Johns has a very casual standard for his reviews and tastes. He is genuine with his reviews, but you must keep that forgiving taste in mind. Yeah, I wasn't trying to mark him as a shill or anything like that. I feel like he's kind of one of those that not quite in the, how do I put this? He gives things a lot more leeway than I would.
I have no idea. I never watch his content.
I only watch once in a great while. I know more of him than I've actually probably watched his videos, though. So that's just because he's not a reviewer I generally trust, at least for my taste, anyway. Rico Zorro has been a member for a year. Well, happy birthday. We got Darius Munchausen, who sends in a super sticker. Let's see what it is. It is a red box of popcorn. Well, you brought that to the right place, my friend. Then we got Stu Cheeks, who says, aside from Avengers Endgame, Mission Impossible Fallout was the last time I was in a theater when the audience clapped and cheered. Love that feeling. Yeah, it's always fun when the audience gets into it. Tennille says, bittersweet versus depressing. Well, there's that too. I think we kind of hashed that out, though. Does this dress make my ass look big? Says one of Marvel's best villains without powers, Zemo. Yeah, that's where I said he was underutilized. I agree. And then Jeremiah Hembry sends in 10 and says, I want to see One Piece Red excuse me, let me start again. I want to see One Piece Red, and about, I'd say 50% of it was singing, and the songs actually matched the tone of the movie. And it was very good, and the action was awesome.
I think he meant I went to see.
I was going to say, yeah.
Well, glad you enjoyed it. So everyone, go see One Piece Red. It has Jeremiah Hembry's recommendation. And I trust that he knows One Piece Red or One Piece, because I don't.
Yeah. Davin Perry says Shazam and Black Adam are so different in tone. I have a hard time imagining how they can be combined. Well, never say never. I see what you're saying. Potentially, I haven't seen Black Adam yet, but Andre, you've seen both, so maybe you can comment on this better.
Well, that's super easy. Barely an inconvenience. There are two movies from two different regimes, and then you just put them together in a third movie that doesn't look quite like either of them, but the new DC universe, and they both fit flawlessly in there. That's how you do that. And then what happened before are just kind of like prequels. That's how you have to look at it.
Honestly, though, with David saying this, though, that makes me feel like Black Adam, they probably handled him better than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Because then that means he's probably a good villain for Shazam.
Well, I would say so, yeah.
There you go. We got Darius Munchausen, who's been a member for 20 months. Thank you so much. And then we got Corey Casal, who says, Shuri's been a smug, flippant, better than the boys trope of a side character in the MCU so far. Why would anyone care if she triumphs? Make you root for her at all in Wakanda Forever, or is it just a trope? It's just the trope. Okay, I get what he's asking here. Yeah, I think you're right. She's kind of just been a side character to this point. She hasn't been given any right to earn us to root for her. Do you see that as a problem, Andre? Does that carry into Wakanda Forever, or do they actually give her character a little bit more to where we're actually...
they give her more to work with. Yeah, they kind of assume that you already sympathize with her, and there's nothing really wrong with her performance or anything like that. Again, it's fundamentally the structure of the movie that's a problem there. And as it is, it's based on like some premises. She really comes across as unsufferable in parts of the movie. So entitled, so unsufferable. Like, my brother died. Plenty people's brothers have died. Plenty have lost family and everything. It's not unique to you. You don't get to sulk this way with your responsibilities. I mean, she's a princess. She's a daughter of a king. She's a sister of another king. Sometimes she starts acting a little bit royal, because for most of the movie she just sulks and feels sorry for herself. I think that's kind of like the bigger issue, that she comes across as... Most of the movie she comes across as fine, apart from when she really gets into self-pitying, when she gets into this proper victimhood mentality, which is really unbecoming of her. But probably the writers thought that, yeah, this is awesome, and it scores so many points on Twitter, on the previous Twitter. Feeling all kinds of entitled.
Well, it's that victim mentality, right? So that's probably where this movie will be a hit with people who love to live that lifestyle. Yeah. Alan Octavian Moldova has been a member for 16 months. It says, I gave Witcher season 1 and season 2 a pass because of Henry and what he brought. But season 3 will be make or break for me. If SJW up the game, I will bail. Well, we'll have to wait and see. I guess it'll be your last season with Henry on the show anyway. Yeah. Thomas Plummer says it's hilarious how Hollywood is making movies that should be TV shows and TV shows that should be movies, isn't it?
Absolutely. And again, I stand by this, and I think many will agree. If you just keep this in mind, this movie is episodic. There's no one clear narrative. It's an episodic narrative here.
Well, and it doesn't sound like there's any real motivation and or things were changed quite a bit. But I guess we'll have to wait and see if that ever gets out there, and I'll have to see what I think when I see the movie, if I ever bother. Xenomorph has become a member. Well, welcome to the club, my friend. And then T. Neal says, so he was killed by death by killed to death by toxic masculinity. Well, that could
Well,
be it.
if you include being too proud to ask his superior sister for help as toxic masculinity, then yeah. But it is very clear that it was his own fault because he didn't ask Shuri for help early enough. If he had, she could have fixed this. He would have been alive.
Yep.
They make that clear.
DCB Titan says, sounds like they fucked up totally. Should have watched the villain show at the start. Absolutely savage him. His face changed during reconstructive surgery. Him and Namor team up to fight the villain. Or he could have done, like, here's the thing. You don't even have to call, just like with Rhodey and everything else, you don't have to really call any attention to the fact that it's a different person. This is what I don't understand with the whole people with Flash when they try to go with these, like, oh, you can do this in the movie and then you can have somebody else come back instead. It's like, that's just going to be confusing for everybody. I know you and I and some people may get it because we're into this nerdy stuff. But you got to think of the general audience here too. For the most part, you're better off just recasting somebody, not calling any attention to it outside of the media. So then when people get in there and they realize, oh, this is that character, then they just go forward with it and they don't think nothing of it. Right? Because once you start bringing in all kinds of other weird stuff to try and explain the differences between and whatnot, you get like that. What is that? The last movie that Heath Ledger did that we just talked about the other day, the Imaginatary, whatever.
The Imaginarium of Dr.
Parnassus or whatever.
Like that, yeah.
And that thing is confusing as fuck all. Like, I mean, I even knew what was going on going into the movie, and I'm still just like, this is dumb. Like, why didn't they just recast this and dedicate the film to him? Like, none of this makes sense to do it this way. But anyhow, like, unless you're doing something like Doctor Who or something like that, just don't even call attention to it. Just fucking recast the person and don't say anything. You have a big tribute to him in the beginning of the movie and you move on. Right? That to me is the best way they could have handled this. And in this case, anyway, but I mean, I get what you're saying here as far as the reconstruction and all that kind of stuff too, which it would have worked, DCB Titan, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I think it's kind of silly. I just don't see a reason to make it a big deal of it. You just bring in the new person.
Yeah. That's what
like
they
with
should have
Rhodey.
done. That's what they should have done here.
Yep. Cryam says, let's see if I understand the story of MCU T'Challa. Tried to kill him in Civil War at the signing, failed. Tried to kill him in Black Panther, failed. Infinity War, failed. And Virus, Wakanda Forever, finally got the job done.
Yep. That sums it up.
Oh, Lord. Buff Geek says, how was Ironheart? Did they take any shots at Iron Man?
Well, she was the bestest ever, and no, there was no shots at Iron Man that I could see, other than the implied one that she's a greater intellect than Tony Stark is. That's the implied part.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Jesus goddamn Christ.
But there's no overt shots at Tony Stark.
Pardon my blasphemy there, but I mean, how bad do they have to make it? Like, they can't even not just let it slide, right? Just, ugh. Your Muslim uncle goes, Black Panther, you go girl, woman slay king.
Kind of, yeah.
The fact that they use Black Panther in the title bothers me more than anything. Then your Muslim uncle has also been a member for 20 months at the Midnight Level. Thank you so much, your Muslim uncle. We appreciate the support. That's 20 months, almost 2 years. And New Zealand, or NZ Greg, I just assumed for some reason that it was New Zealand. I'm sorry about that. It probably isn't. NZ Greg's has been a member for 13 months at the Midnighter level. Thank you for that. And then Gabriel Quiroga says Black Panther should have died in glorious battle, not a virus. I agree.
That would have been better.
They shouldn't have killed him at all. Period.
That would have been best of all.
Yep. Jeff C says, Andre, did Victoria Von Doom make an appearance? Yeah, we didn't really get to ask about any of the.
It was Namor all along. And
Which
Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger.
How does Killmonger factor into this?
It's implied that he's in jail because one way or the other, he gave T'Challa the virus. In the aftermath of the previous movie, he obviously took.
Wait, I thought he died.
Killmonger? Well, maybe I misunderstood, but someone. And
Am I misremembering the movie?
And I think it might have been Killmonger, because this is what we are told afterwards. This is why there's no more Black Panther, because he apparently, off-screen, of course, this is a movie we should have gotten, off-screen, Killmonger, he usurped the throne, he made himself Black Panther, and then he destroyed all of the Black Panther liquid so that he never could be deposed and there never could be another. And then he was deposed anyway. And then I think the implication was
That was the first movie. Like, all the things you're explaining are the first movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, anyway. Well, it shows how much I remember. But so yeah, anyway. And because of him, then, there can be no more Black Panthers.
Well, yeah, that's how the movie ended, because T'Challa took the last of the magic purple juice from the
yeah, right. It was there. Oh yeah, so I had forgotten. But anyway, so yeah, no, it was there then, and that's why there could be no more Black Panthers until Shuri, of course, is able to restructure and resynthesize the Black Panther liquids.
This movie's already giving me
a headache. Yeah.
Moving on, Eduardo Guerrero says Santo Blue Demon, Mill Mascaras, Chapulin, Colorado, from classic Mexican comics, Chanok. There are a lot of characters to pick in Mexican pop culture. Sorry if I probably butchered the pronunciation of all those.
And yeah, there probably are, no doubt about it.
Tons. He said something about in a movie or whatever like that. I'm still sitting here going, Zorro?
Santo. It would be cool to have Santo in the MCU.
There you go. Dark Winter says agenda-driven nonsense doesn't trump good writing.
Nope. Far from it.
Absolutely not.
Far from it.
And then we have, let's see here, Fuck Google, who says 70s Marvel Comics solved the you can't out Thanos. Spider-Man faced J. Jonah after 2 in 1, number 2, and it was good.
Exactly. See, you just changed the scale a little bit. You changed the stakes. You don't have to have like this power inflation. No good can come of that. None at all. But yeah, let's move on here through the rest.
Yeah, we have does this dress make my ass look big? It says big. It says Andre. Don't know if Fathom Events screens in Norway, but for Conan Barbarian's 40th, we'll be back in theaters in December 12th to 13th. Oh, interesting you say that. That means there must be a 4K master.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll come soon. We haven't heard anything more about it, but it should be in the works. I know I've never heard about Fathom Events, but hopefully someone will screen it here. I'd go. But okay, yeah, that's cool. That's like the next thing we heard about. Like
that's
4K
cool. That's more
that
confirmation. Yeah. Mexican Iron Man sending in another one. It says, I am Mexican Iron Man. My question is, how amazing and awesome is Black Iron Riri chick?
Yeah, I said before, she's the bestest ever.
Ever. Period. None better. Olaf Van S says a clownfish article that Disney stock has plummeted and investors want Chapek out after conference call. No surprise there. Saw the call yesterday. Yeah, I haven't seen this yet. I'm not too happy with Chapek. I'm like, that's what I was saying earlier. If he's playing some 4D chess, he better make some moves pretty
he better start doing some winning moves real quick here, because as it is right now, this whole thing is getting burnt to the ground around him. And it's not going to get better before they fix all this wokeness. But that's a problem. You have so many people on the owner side who wants this. I mean, you have BlackRock and certain other parties who are big Disney shareholders, and they're all about this. And you could replace Chapek, but who do you replace him with? Someone even woker? Someone more aggressive? Is that going to get the support of, for instance, BlackRock? Remember, they don't want this to change. That's a problem for Chapek. That's a problem for Disney. There's no unified will to actually fix this problem. For many of the investors, they're not invested in Disney to make a profit directly. They're invested there for the social engineering, which will profit them in other ways. Never underestimate that part of the problem. So, yeah, Disney is...
yeah, sadly, I think Southern
understood.
Vikings right. No more 4D chess. Now he's playing Connect 4. That's the way I feel at this point. I
Yeah.
think he's lost it. I think he's been compromised. Mega Wing Zero says, so go watch Black Adam instead. Sounds good. Well, that's what I said
You'll
a few
have
weeks
better
ago on
time
a
that
tweet.
way.
Yeah. That's what I put a tweet out there for. Well, we're not supposed to go see Black Adam, or Black Panther, so go see Black Adam instead. Jesus Davila sends a thumbs up. If you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please do. We appreciate that. And thank you, Jesus. Miss Sunflower says the Americans should make movies like the Indian RRR. The men are real heroes with a lot of masculinity. Indians are celebrating masculinity. We used to have great movies like that. Wasn't so long ago. And Ghostbusters ruined it. Tennille says Clownfish just released a video. Disney's investor call claiming shareholders want Chapek gone. Any merit or just Clownfish hate boner for Chapek?
Don't
Valiant
haven't been able to
and
research.
WDW Pro would know more about this, unfortunately. And after that call, I was not too impressed with it myself from the things I had heard. As far as the shareholders go, I don't know. Last we knew, they kind of had his back, so we'll have to check into that.
You'll never have all the shareholders back because the shareholders have different motivations. As I just said, most shareholders, they want to make money on Disney. Other shareholders, they don't want to make money on Disney. They want it for social engineering to make money elsewhere. There you have a conflict internally in the board. So I'm sure that there's some people in Disney or in the shareholders that want him to go. But who and what do they want instead? That's the question.
Yeah. And we did read this, but Six seems to think we didn't. So I'm going to read it again. A Clownfish article that Disney stock has plummeted and investors want Chapek out after the conference call. No surprise there. Saw the call yesterday. Yep. And then again, we have to know more about that, but we'll get back to that sooner than later, I'm sure. In fact, we may talk a little Disney just before we head out here. Tennille says Clownfish just released a video. We got this one too, right? Yep. Okay, we're good. What did you guys think about the musical score of the soundtrack? Gene Geeks wants to know.
I liked it. That was good.
Okay.
Good music.
You like the music?
Best part of the movie. In fact, it was better than the rest of the movie had any right to be.
I've got the soundtrack for the first one, but I've never listened to it. I didn't pay for it, so whatever. Eduardo Guerrero says, sorry for my previous super. Didn't notice it was incomplete. I will say out of the range of Black Panther movie. I will stay out of the range of the Black Panther movie. Oh, okay. So you're not going to go see it is what you mean. Gotcha. All right. And with that, I think we're all caught up on the super chats. So,
all right.
One other thing that was going on, Andre, we learned that Star Wars news. What's his name? Sean Levy.
Yeah, that guy. I can't stand him.
Who's directing Deadpool 3 and recently made Free Guy. He is supposedly working on in talks, let's say, of working in a Star Wars film, but he said, I got other stuff to worry about first.
Yeah. But still, we got it in the official trades. So even if it technically wasn't an announcement, it's going to read and be interpreted as another announcement. Just after Kathleen Kennedy was told she's not to do any more of those. So yeah, good going.
Well, and again, I think Six is right because she pointed it out to me. She goes, I think this is something more they squeezed out of Levy and he didn't mean to say it or wasn't supposed to. I said, yeah, you're probably right on that part. But also we learned another project is dead over at Star Wars. Let me see if I got the article here. Handy anyway. Let's see here. The individual was working on a movie, D. Dillard. Devotion filmmaker J.D. Dillard, no longer developing a Star Wars movie for Lucasfilm. He was also going to be involved with The Rocketeer. So that's another
one bites the dust.
That's funny because that's what I tweeted out. Another one bites the dust. So So here you go, another one down. And we hear about another one coming in. So the ever evolving doors of Lucasfilm, huh? But just to top all that off, we got some news that we're getting an Indiana Jones series in development now for Disney Plus. No real information on whether it's going to be a sequel, prequel, remake, whatever. But I thought Kathy was supposed to stop announcing shit. All of a sudden, we're getting a flood of Lucasfilm stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I'm very curious about what's going on, because we know from Puck Magazine, and I trust Puck Magazine and Matthew Boloney, that she was to stop announcing stuff. And yet here we have something more announced out of the blue, and there's not even in conjunction with the trailer, which is weird, because if this is something that was like really planned to coincide and stuff, you'd think this would have been announced in conjunction with the trailer release. But no, just dropped out of the blue. That tells me there's some corporate shenanigans going on here. Now, I don't know what corporate shenanigans, but there's some corporate shenanigans to this.
Yeah, something's going on. Plus, we got the cast for the Acolyte the other day, which we did show at the end of the show. So that's going on as well.
Yeah, that's going to save Star Wars. Don't you know it?
Totally. So other than that, that was the basic news, guys. Like
today's Disney special, there was nothing great about Disney going on.
I mean, we have to go and do a little bit more digging, but yeah. Omar El Begway says about Black Panther Wakanda Forever, any end credit scene?
No.
None?
Only mid-credit scene.
Was it worth a shit?
If you like the rest of the movie, yeah.
Oh.
That's a spoiler. That's where you learn that we now have like more single black moms, because T'Challa is going to be an absentee father to
for fuck's sake,
to his son. So yeah, again, just fits right in with the theme with who this movie is for. It's for black single mothers and their grandmothers.
Awesome. Number 2, what is the night cargo ship in the trailer?
I don't recall the trailer right now, but this night cargo ship is actually a CIA. I can only imagine that you're referring to a CIA ship that is looking for vibranium in the middle of the ocean, because Wakanda won't share any of theirs. And that's how Namor gets involved, because this vibranium is on their turf.
Gotcha. And third, hints of future movies.
Only Black Panther 3, The Return of Shuri, Black Panther 4, The Young T'Challa, and Ironheart. That's about it. Beyond that, no.
All right. Does this dress make my ass look big? Sends in another 5. Thank you much. And says, in the opening Marvel credits, have Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther featured as a tribute as it transmorphs into the new actor's Black Panther.
That's what they could have done. As it stands instead, the Marvel opening credits is a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, just like the Marvel credits was a tribute to Stan Lee in Captain Marvel, which incidentally was the highlight of that movie. It was all downhill from there. Yeah.
But no, actually, I wouldn't even do this, because I would just leave the opening bit for Chadwick. You do the opening bit for Chadwick, you give him his moment. The audience takes a breath for about 10 seconds of silence, black screen, whatever. Then the movie just starts, and you don't even address it past there. It's just the movie kicks off with Black Panther doing his thing, and it's the new actor. You know, we already know who it's going to be, a new actor, right? Like, and this is one of those situations where most people are going to forgive it, right? Like, you're not going to even question it. We already know, like, it's going to be somebody different because Chadwick died, clear and simple. But yeah. Anyway, Gonzalo Bergali says, do you feel KK may have opposed the swap of Eric Stoltz and Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future? I wouldn't go that far. I don't think she was even that involved. to be honest with you.
I think she was too busy cooking coffee.
Yeah, Frank Marshall probably did more on that movie than she did.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to take any.
No, carry on.
I say I don't want to take any credit away from KK that she might be due, but considering the stories we've heard, I have a feeling she didn't do a whole hell of a lot.
And when she did something, it was never come up with any good ideas. It was interrupting and saying random crap that they all rolled their eyes at, but that random crap gave them new ideas for something else.
And with that, we are caught up.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you so much, guys. We're going to round out here and check back on Friday for the Friday show. I don't think there's going to be a 4K for you this week. I'm just not feeling too well. There wasn't, I don't think, enough news to do so. So I think we're going to take a break from that tonight. But I should pop in on the physical media program this evening on Fanzine's channel just the same. Other than that, hopefully we'll have a video or something coming up here soon, and we'll see you Friday.
Real soon, yeah. And
Midnight's Edge After Dark Thursday.
Everyone, thanks for joining us. And with that, it is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain.